Hello.
Hello.
For everyone watching, Paul is here from Paul's Monitors to be my driving instructor for live streaming because this is my first time.
And I'm a professional now, so
He's a professional. So we've got quite a few emails to get through. Let me just open the comments so I can see that. So we've got quite a few enclosures. I know a lot of people have submitted monitor enclosures, especially for Paul. So we'll see how far we get.
we're
Hello,
here all night,
Riddler.
guys. Don't worry, we're going for everything. Don't worry, we're here for the long haul.
Yeah, this will be a long one if we've got a lot to get through. Right, let's start with me just reading this first one. This first one is from Cheryl Caprio. She says, "Hi, I have 6 5x2x2 bioactive enclosures. We've got 6 of them in one email chain. You ready, Paul?
I'm ready.
5 are home to ball pythons and 1 to a corn snake.
I'll
They've
leave
been
this
up.
to you then.
Yeah, they've been up and running a couple. They've been up and running a couple of them for a year, and the other half just a matter of months. Each offers 5 different hides. Sky hide, a lot of climbing opportunities. I tried to stick with wider, sturdier plants like ponytail palms, snake plants, bromeliads, ferns, pothos, etc., so they aren't trampled. Each uses daytime halogen and switched to deep heat projector at night. UVB and LEDs are also in. I have of course springtails, dwarf whites, and powder orange ice pods in each. They truly are
I have,
my happy
of
place.
course. I mean, we're starting off strong. This is sounding sick.
Right. Let me just.
Also, we've got 33 people in chat right now.
33.
You're
Mad.
famous. You're
First
low-key
ever
famous.
live stream. 33. Wow. I was like, if we hit 20, I'll be happy. Got 33 at the start.
You got 34 now. Celebrate.
34.
Like the video.
Mad. Yeah, like the video. Let's get 34 likes on the live stream already.
34 likes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds in.
Mad.
But okay, which one's this? Is this the corn or the royal? Because we got 5 corns.
It doesn't specify, so I'd imagine it's going to be a royal. So they got UV. You can't really see the UV in this picture for now, but you can't see the back, which I like. That means the entire thermal gradient at the back is a hide, essentially. So they can't. It's not like 2 hides on either side. They can hide and thermoregulate across the choice of security across the entire back.
You know what we should do? We should
What should we
jackal
do?
and hide it, angel and demon it. So you've started off positive, so I'll do a negative, and then next one,
Okay.
I'll do a positive and you do a negative. And some enclosures might be easier than others to do positive and or negatives. And also, guys, we're not here to criticize. We're just here to push people in the right direction.
Exactly.
Okay. My negative would be, for example, if you look at the halogen, just to the left of the halogen, from the left all the way to the far left, you could have a nice big branch there to make use of all that open air space.
You're not wrong.
So
You're
that's my negative. It's an incredible enclosure, but outside of the floor and the basking spot, you've got no elevated levels. So I'm not a snake guy for people that know me, but for me and my monitor brain, usable space is usable space. So your snake can obviously sliver around as snakes do, but there's nowhere for it to be able to actually use muscles to pull itself up and get into different areas and places. I know they said they have sky hides, but I know if you had a couple of sticks in there, that would be a big bonus for me.
You know, we might eat our words as soon as we switch to the next image if it's from a different angle and you see all this climb at the top or something.
I'll just leave.
I think it depends because, like, if you've got like a horizontal branch across from like bottom right to back left, you could have that branch go really close to the UV. So there's an element of making sure you don't overexpose to UVI as well as that. But if you've got the UV at the front ahead of that halogen bulb, then there's no reason why you couldn't have climbing structures at the back. It's about using the available like airspace. It's not a fish tank that can't go up into this empty area of space. We need to make sure we use as much of that space as possible.
Yeah, you can definitely like add a bit of more 3-dimensional texture. I'm probably going to be saying this in a lot of enclosures, but you can add a bit more 3-dimensional texture on the back, at least. So
41 people in this live stream.
Jesus Christ. I think you've like beat my record. Like I can't remember what mine was. But yeah, you had a good tactic. We said before you had a good tactic.
41 people. Mad.
What's good, guys? How are you all doing? Remember to come and tune into mine on Sunday.
Shameless. Absolutely shameless.
I don't care.
So, hey everyone, I got this while playing clean enclosures. Thanks for keeping in company. No worries, we're here for the long haul. So, depends how long it takes you to clean for. We might be here the entire time. Let's move to the next image. Right. Bam. Now, I don't know which one this is. So, it's near enough the same, isn't it? So, oh, you can see the sky hardened top right there.
Yeah.
So, I would say from this image, you can't see whether there's branches going up to it. And what you could have is vertical branches that have like a Y shape coming off. So there's like these little loops that a royal could use as like an anchoring positions to climb and slither up to this sky hide, and just horizontal branches in general. That dark area beneath that sky hide, you could have a horizontal branch from that back wall, like center back wall, to like the front right of that wall, and you could have like perching opportunities. We know that royals obviously will sit in this angular serpentine S position facing downwards, and the opportunities to like be fed that way. So I think if you had a horizontal branch across that way, you might see that behavior come out of them.
For me as well, on the right hand side where you've got obviously the dark area, where you're not going to worry into overexposure to UVI. Again, you can have branches just filling up that usable space, but for the most part, lots of complexity on the ground. So I'm definitely happy with that overall.
I think it's a very good enclosure. What do you think about deep heat projectors at night? Or is it just picking at whether it's infrared A, B, or C?
For me personally, I have absolutely no form of radiation other than infrared C. That
Same.
may have been generated from a rock, heating up a rock. But no, I don't run any heat at night outside of what's already like radiating in the enclosure. I don't really think it matters, but I also think a lot of people, as a general, keep their reptiles a bit too hot overnight, because I think people don't realize the microclimates that these animals exhibit. And obviously, it's not going to be year round. And in the winter time, most animals are going to have, or even if it's a dry season, they're going to experience some form of chill where humidity dissipates. So
Yeah, I mean, especially at night time, it's very good for immune systems as well. The element of like respiratory infections and concerns with raw pythons. My raw python and Ellie's raw pythons get a lot colder than people think at night, like down to like 18 in Ellie's room, especially. And Mo is right beneath the windows, so my raw python gets quite cold at night. Absolutely fine.
In the winter, mine get down to like 14, 15 degrees. And they're fine. I've had no issues.
I suppose the argument for a deep heat projector is it's more directional. But my argument would be if there's only ever infrared C at night, which is either a warm surface like a rock or something, or just warm air, if you had like infrared B, which is present in like the daylight sun, would it feel weird? Imagine you're out at night, right? And then you feel like the sun's on you, but it's like pitch black. You'd be like, what is happening? So I don't know how weirdly they interpret that, or whether they don't care at all. I don't think anyone knows.
So for you then, would you put a heat mat in, or would you just put a rock in?
I would probably use a rock. Probably a rock. It depends on the external temperatures.
Over the night. It's similar to the wild, because obviously those rocks aren't going to stay hot forever, whereas the heat mat stays at a constant.
You say that. Some of the slate I've made videos in the past where I had this big piece of Welsh mountain slate, and I had it underneath my basking spot, and I had a probe against it, touching it. And the lights went off at 8, and it was 31 degrees. And then at 2 in the morning, it was 28 degrees, and at 5 in the morning, it was like 25.
That's
so that rock retains that heat.
Yeah. No, it's not bad. Like I say, and the heat mat would have obviously stayed at 31, but that's still good. I was expecting it to be less, to be fair.
And it's free as well.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Right, let's move on to the next image.
I think we have 1,000,001 to go through, so if we do skip past some stuff, we are sorry.
There is a lot to go through.
Sudden heat at night. Turn around. the sun's coming out, guys. The vampire. That's what vampires
atomic explosion
say.
On the horizon.
Just get.
Can I highlight?
Yeah, just click it. It comes.
I definitely let my temperatures drop at night. I think it's beneficial to them. Yeah, same. We definitely think that.
Facts. I like this one. Again, I want branches, and it looks like, is that a ceramic heat emitter rather than?
I can't see.
Yeah. It's hard to comment. I like that they've got hygrometers and thermometers in every enclosure, because I think people sleep on that sort of stuff. They obviously don't look the best, but for checking that especially if you're OCD, checking that your enclosures are on point is a good little touch. And they've definitely spent a lot of money on it. So you could, regardless of what you're saying, like the enclosures have obviously had a lot of money gone into them.
100%. These are clearly very enriched enclosures, and these animals aren't going to be suffering from any sort of like lack of stimulation at all. So I think the only thing you can pick out is just climbing, and that's literally it.
Yeah, otherwise the floors, especially that big cork tube, like in the middle left there, like that's going to give a nice level of hide cover as well as climbing ability. So
100%. Where can we submit enclosures? Right, if you want to do it right now, so it's there by the time it's reptiles and research submissions at gmail.com. So if you email me there, I will get to it within this live stream. You've caught me right on the very end, but yeah, if you email it there, we'll show it.
We're not going to bed.
We're not going to bed. Right. Let's move to the next image. Oh, that looks sick.
That's a dream. Oh, I've got pictures as well.
Oh, look at that.
If the pictures are the snakes, that's pretty cool.
That is really cool. They're all royals as well, so I'd imagine it is.
Yeah, and the corn on the right there.
Yeah, the corn on the right. That is so cool.
I would want something like that for my reptile room. That's a touch. 10 out of 10.
That is 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I wish I had like some soundboards.
Well, what we should do, we should rate everybody, like, and be serious, because obviously you can't give everyone a 10. So what are you rating overall these enclosures, not individual enclosures, just overall these enclosures out of 10? I'm not saying like be super harsh, be like 3, but like
no. I would say 8 because
I was thinking strong 7.5.
I'm thinking 8 because I'd give 1 more point for climbing, and then I would give 1 more point for like a burrow or a subfloor or something for a royal. Like those trays at the bottom, I think they're just storage. Could you imagine if that was like a subfloor and that was like a burrow beneath it? How amazing that would be. That's what I'm planning for my royal as well. That's going to be quite cool.
Shameless plug. But yeah, I'm going to go 7.5. You go 8. But that's remember, if this is the last photo, remember what you need to do.
Okay. Let's not leak people's emails.
No.
No, it's not.
We got the next one. They are smart. They do look smart.
They are looking amazing.
Yeah, they look smart.
You can see the sky hide up there as well.
They've even angled the jungle dawn to maximize the light. Big brain.
Big brain. Are we at the start? Oh, that's the corn. Top right corn. I can see him.
That's nice. Like I say, outside of a couple more branches, they're more or less there. They are nice. I think I was harsh with 7.5, but I'm going to man it. 7.5.
You're going to man it.
I'm going to man it. 7.5. I've said it now. We're not going back.
Stick to your guns. Good thing to remember is that the animals have evolved to deal with some weather in the wild. So they encounter a storm in the middle of the night, resulting in severe temperature drop. That is very true. Like a pressure drop or like a cold front. That's very true. We've also got
Coridon as a profile picture. I appreciate it.
I don't know what that is.
It's a new Pokemon.
Oh, right. Yeah, I stopped being into that from like the Sinnoh region, but
yeah.
Right, I think that's the last one. No, there's more. It's more of the same. I think they're all really good.
The Bromeliads are smart. I like the Bromeliads.
I like them a lot. Right, that's the very end. So what I'm going to do is not leak people's emails and remove that, and I'll read the next one. Being good. We're not.
42 people, man.
Oh, this email is from Reptile Shed Norwich, or the Norwich Reptile Shed. Why is his email backwards? That makes no sense. He says, "Hello, mate. I would like Paul to rate my Crocs, please."
Yes,
I think this would be funny. Okay, right. I've attached my most recent build from my false water cobra. It's a 6x3 by 2.5, 60-watt halogen spot lamp on a Reptile Systems black clamp lamp controlled by dimming stat. Pro T5. It's not crazy full of branches, not broil opportunities. So found things to really stay quite low to the ground at all times. Live planted, and there's a few species of woodlice and springtails. Bye. Right, let's show the Crocs then. You sexy beast.
Mate, I've got some real life pads out there. Oh my god, they're similar to mine. I can't even see that he's wearing Crocs. Where are the Crocs? Honestly, Jamie, you're getting a 12 out of 10.
Croc gang.
Fella, someone clip this and send it to him. Honestly, hang on, wait. Clip it now. Yes, 10 out of 10, 100%. My man. Love him. That's incredible. I'm glad I turned up.
Right, let's move to the next image. All right, it's the falsie. You can't really see the length of this enclosure, to be fair.
Yeah, I know it's like a 6 foot plus, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 6 foot long. The pose, yes. The Crocs, no. You're dissing the Crocs.
Shut up, Riddler.
So you can see he's got like rocks underneath this halogen, and it's like belly heat as well. There are climbing opportunities. You can see the shelf at the back right there. And you can see there's branches off to the left, so it can climb. It can lift its body off the floor, so it can exhibit the climbing behavior.
He said he doesn't want to give it sticks because it's not the best to get it off the floor, is what he said in the email, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned with what it's lacking.
No.
And the entire back is a hide, so the entire thermal gradient is accessible as a secure hiding place as well. That's my main thing that I wish was common knowledge, and one of those things become like a common theme around keepers is like you can't see the back, so the entire thermal gradient is a hide.
So you've been a positive, so I'm going to go with a negative. From the picture, it's hard to tell, but I would like more visible light in there. So I would.
You can never tell, can you?
I would like an LED or another LED just to make it pop a little bit more. Obviously, I know they need shade and I know they need hides, but you can do that with the complexity in your enclosure. So I'm just going to say that I would like an LED in there.
Are they real or plastic plants? Because I think those ones at the back right are plastic. There's something to be said about plastic plants because I didn't even notice that.
They might be real just because the way it's bent over like that. So they might be real.
I don't know. I can't tell. That's the end of that one anyway. Let's move on because we have a lot to get through.
It was worth it for the Crocs. This is
worth it for the Crocs.
It's the best day ever. If people that don't follow me, Crocs, you can't play with monitor lizards unless you wear Crocs. It's fact of life. Even though I still get bitten by them. But Crocs. Croc gang. I'm going to get some custom Crocs. I'm going to get my logo on a pair of Crocs. And then I want Crocs to sponsor me, but it won't happen. Everyone at Crocs. Tell them to sponsor Paul's monitors.
I want to see everyone in the chat say Paul's Crocs.
Hashtags. You can't play with monitors. That's a long hashtag, but you can't play with monitors without Crocs. It's the rules. Clog Croc. Honestly, I'd have every Croc. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not.
I look so red right now. I look like a beetroot. Right. For everyone watching, the room is this temperature right now. I'm dying. And I've got lights on me.
That's 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Whew. Yeah, it's hot in here. Right. The next person. This is from Carmen HA. Hi. I've just realized upon searching your channel that I got my first bearded dragon after I watched a few of your videos. That's so cool. They were very helpful, especially the humidity video. Very helpful. I got a weird accent there. Upon your request, I've attached a few images of a 4x2x2. He's a Western bearded dragon. He's Pagona minor. Ooh. Substrate is Cocoa Core. I am aware of the controversy surrounding loose substrate, but he never ingests it. His husbandry is good and he loves to dig. I would love feedback by you and people in the chat. I'm always happy to learn. Thank you for your time. You've earned a subscriber. Whoop, whoop.
Also, you had 51. You got 49 people now.
How dare you leave? Right, let's add this.
Cool. I already own the first part of my monitor equipment, Crocs. You're on your way there. You're on your way. Honestly, just go and buy a Croc monitor now. It's all you need.
You're already qualified, mate. You're already... Right, so this is for a Pagona minor. So I worked at Pagona minor. I freaking love them. He's at the top there in the middle.
Right. Help my simpleton. Pagona minor, what's that? Rankins?
No, it's the Western bearded dragon.
And they're smaller?
Yes.
How much? I can see him, but like roughly.
So they're like that as adult.
Okay.
So like what? 15, 20 centimeters.
Okay. All right. Okay.
They're really cool.
Okay.
So in this, there's a lot of opportunity to dig, and there's a really deep substrate, and I love that. Yeah. I don't care about substrate in bearded dragons. I've already detailed very, very often how impaction only occurs when there's health problems, blah, 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 blah. If you want to look at that in detail, there's a dedicated video on the channel. But opportunities to dig, opportunities to actually make your own burrow as well for the animal of that size. That's huge. I love that. Microclimate as well. opportunities to climb all over the place. There is a mosaic of light and dark and shade in this basking opportunity area. And it looks like the UV and the heat are all on that one top slate area.
Well, it looks like I'm being bloody negative again then, starting off positive. I'm going to say I want more visible light, especially for an animal such as a beardie. And I'm going to say I would like a little bit bigger of an enclosure. Because you can never have too big of an enclosure.
Fair. Let's go to the next image. Oh, that's a lot bigger.
Yeah, like I say, I don't know how big they are.
They're not big.
Are they not big? So that's going to be what, a 36, 18, 24? Because it's not 36 tall, it's an Exoterra. So
I was imagining that's like a 90 long.
Yeah, which is 36 inches.
Hmm.
Yeah, so 90 long, 45 deep, 60 tall for centimeters.
That's not awful. I mean, you could also. I mean, I'd put them personally. If I were to get one, I would put them straight in a 4x2x2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Personally,
but
that's what I would do.
I would be putting a LED across the entirety of the length of it. The enclosure itself and how you've elaborated the enclosure, I really like.
There's
a lot of complexity, yeah, 100%. But if we are nitpicking, I would like it, like you say, a minimum of 4x2x2. Exoterra makes a 4x2x2. Since when?
Do they?
I thought the biggest they made was 36, 18, 36, which is 90, 45, 90. But yeah, I would like a little bit more visible light,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like a bigger enclosure. But for the most part, it's nice and elaborate, which I like. Because, for example, if you didn't have all like the tree root in the middle and the like shelving, lattice, branches, bridges, whatever you want to call it, it would obviously be like, oh, but because you've got all the shelving and the complexity, I'm all for that. But like I say, I'd like visible light. I'm really big on LEDs.
So Simon says, sure about the Exoterra, has 2 locks. That's very true. I don't think it is an Exoterra, to be fair.
Could be a. Did they say the size of the enclosure? Obviously, if you go back, you have to remove.
Thank you for reminding me.
That's okay. That's a 4x2. If that's a 4x2,
oh, it's a 4x2x2.
I take everything back.
I'm
assuming it's an Exoterra. So that's what I was saying. If it was an Exoterra, it would be that. That's 100. Right, take it back. Add LEDs. Oh, we didn't rate Norwich Reptile Shed out of 10.
You gave him 12 out of 10 for the Crocs.
Yeah, but that's the Crocs. The enclosure, I'll give him. I'm going 7.52.
I would probably say like a 8.5.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll take it back. Just some visible light, and that's where my critiques end. Add some nice visible light and loose substrate. I don't care. I have all of my animals on loose substrate. If you keep your biddies on tiles, then don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me. I think this is a great enclosure now that I know it's 4x2x2.
Yeah, no, I'll take it back. She's in the chat.
We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. It's a 4x2x2. We're sorry.
Yeah, just more visible light. And I'll give you a 9. But right now I'm sticking with my 7.5s.
It's a good enclosure, though.
Yeah, that's why I'll give it a 9 with some visible light. But 7.5. I'm going consistent. 7.5.
Lovely. Right, on to the next one.
Yeah, no, my bad. I thought it was a 36. So I'll take it back, all right? I'll stand here correctly.
Oh, this email's a part 2. Okay. Right. Hello, my name is Mo, and here are some of my tanks. I'll be submitting the photos and then all descriptions at the end. Oh, these don't come up as images. They're within the actual email. Let me see if I can bring these
Mo's
up.
in chat, so you can be like, Mo, if this is you, Mo, do you mind Liam leaking your email? Just because he can't bring it up otherwise. If not, then we can't look at it. Unless you can zoom in.
I'll give it a go. Let me. So Royal Python. So it's 4x2x2, 100 watt halogen with an Arcadia Shade Dweller T5, a deep heat projector connected to a VE pulse thermostat. She came from kept in the tub and is not open to enrichment as others. It's a slow progress with her. Oh no, I can bring the image up. Okay.
All right, cool.
This one. Climbing straight away. I mean, there's one branch, but I mean, climbing especially. Where do you live, first of all? Because I was going to mention humidity, but if you live in Florida where the humidity is like high, then I don't think the substrate matters too much. But if you're not, then I would probably be using something that holds a bit more humidity.
I'm gonna go with a stereotypical old-fashioned pull, visible light. And I was too busy talking to people. I don't know if you read out halogen, but if you're not using a halogen to heat the enclosure,
Yeah, it's halogen.
It is a halogen. Okay, but yeah, I would just say some visible light. And what did they say about UVB?
Yeah, it's got UV.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just visible light, and then maybe a branch, 1 or 2 more branches, just to fill up some usable space. Just because you always see enclosures and they are, like you say, just that one branch, great, but then you can do something across the back to make it actual complex for the snake. Even just sticking a branch to the back gives the snake something to get up on and move and then come down.
I mean, that's exactly what I've done in the ball python enclosure that mine's going to go into, where I've literally held a branch, shoved it against the wall, and just put screws through it and through the back of the wall.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't do that with glass, but
Yeah, don't do it with glass.
You've made me smash my tank. But yeah, I think also you could have like a log across the entirety of the back. Again, I like to see like an access to security across the entire thermal gradient. So maybe one log across the entire back would be cool. And much more climbing opportunities would be brilliant, really. Since it's glass, you can basically just cut a log to length and just wedge it in against the wall so it holds it in place. I've done that many times.
Or you can use like expanding foam to like pin it to the side, obviously without the snake in there. Give it 24 hours secure, then silicone it, and then cover it in cocoa or something like that to make it look more natural.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Let's move to the next image.
What are you rating out of 10? Oh, there's another image. Okay,
there's more images yet.
Okay. I'm rushing into it.
So which one's this? And I need to come out of this to read the information for this one. 1 second. This is a bit more difficult. So this one, was a sand skink, 55 gallon shade dual over 100 watt and 65 watt halogen. Not much research on these guys. So I'm not sure I'm going to be much help with this because I ain't got a clue.
Sand skink, right?
What species this refers to?
I think they're the let me see if I can bring it up. They're the ones that basically bury in the sand. Like I think we call them sand swimmers over here.
Oh right.
I think. Oh no, actually, I could be wrong.
Is it Berber skinks? Are they sand skinks?
No, this is coming up as a Florida sand skink. So it's hard to know exactly what it is. So we need Latin names. Again, I'm boring. Visible light, and I would definitely, even though it's a sand skink, I would make use of the glass background, even if you just block it out for that little bit more level of security. Berber skink. The people are questioning it, but yeah, I would sandfish. Yeah, I thought it was a sandfish.
Potentially.
Yeah, I would block out the glass just to give it that little bit more level of security.
I would put a log the entire length of the back again. I don't know anything about the species, so I can't be ultra detailed for you.
If it's these ones,
all right, yeah,
they literally do. They're pretty much Kenyan sandboas, but lizards.
Oh right, okay. Then it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I would block out the back and the sides, ideally like cork or something with ledges. So if it does want to, it can get out. But and LEDs. I'm going to say this for every enclosure that doesn't have it. Well, okay, what are you rating the first enclosure then? Because we've skipped past.
The first one, I'd say probably a 6.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. This one?
This one's hard because I don't know the species, but I'd probably say like a 6 again, probably.
Mm-hmm. I'll go 6.5.
Okay, cool. Let me move to... I can't have to come out again, don't I?
Mainly desert dwellings that aren't climbing.
Cool. Okay, so this one is a Bearded Dragon 4x2x4 with 100 watt and 65 watt halogen, T5 UVB, deep UV projector at night. And she says we have more driftwood coming. Right.
Yeah, I was just for the one back. I was only saying block out the back. It doesn't have to be usable, but just for security of the animal, because having glass all the sides is just going to stress. It's going to increase the level of stress. So if you block it out, then it's just fine.
No, you're good, Mo. It's fine. I mean, it's not a total disaster. I'm managing it. We're doing all right. I like this, but there is a lot of empty airspace here. I think this could be used much more effectively. I think with Zen, there's loads of like magnetic ledges that you can use because Ellie's got a Zen, and those wall panels are so thin. So I think you can get those magnetic wall ledges, and you could just like cluster up the walls and make these like really dynamic walls. That's what I'd be trying to do personally.
I like that. So you've gone for a slight negative. I'm going to go for a slight positive. I like the different basking array with multiple lamps. So it looks like the animal will actually be able to have its body covered when basking rather than just one halogen. So I like that. But I am in agreement. I don't like empty space. I like clutter. So I would personally be sticking LEDs on the top of that, as well as multiple areas on the sides, just to make, because they might never ever use it, but you've given them the option, and keeping reptiles is all about options, in my opinion.
So the back collapses when we put things on it. Oh, voice crack. Ugh. The back collapses when we put things on it. Does it fold? Is that why? That makes sense.
Okay. Goddamn Zen habitats.
Yeah, I mean, they're all right. I like the fact that they're really, really light. Oh, we just dropped from 35 to 26 in an instant.
People don't care. They don't like my negative criticisms.
Yeah, so the Zens are cool
on my screen.
Oh, I don't know what I'm seeing. Oh, it's just it's all over the place. I'm just gonna ignore it and crack on. Right. I need to unshow this, don't I? 1 second, guys. 1 second.
What are you rating that one out of 10?
I'd say 5.
I'm gonna go 5.5.
So this one's a crested gecko. 39 watt halogen shade dweller. Ba-bam.
Yeah, right. I've got 41. Actually, saying that on pause, that's probably why. I'll probably pause that at 41.
Just 35 on mine now. So this is for a crested gecko. There's a lot of open air space again, I'd say.
This is my favorite one so far.
I agree with that.
I like the big plant.
There's an LED.
I think that's a UVB, isn't it? It's a shade dweller.
Is it?
Yeah. But I would add an LED, and I would add some vertical branches, some like
100%.
Just dotted around, just completely straight up vertical. And then I would be adding a couple of horizontals intertwining with the verticals to give the ability to go completely up, across, perching, upright, so they can hang like this, they can hang like that. It's a cresty, yeah? So they can get, and also what you'll find is they will jump from vertical to vertical if you give them the opportunity to. So for me, give them the option of complete verticals and give them the option of some horizontals. And then I'd say that enclosure is like, because it's good size for a cresty as well. I love the size for a cresty. So I'm gonna give that one. I'm gonna give that one a 7. Get a few branches and LED in there, then that's up there. That one.
Do you know what you could do? You could cut your branches to length and then put them in there and wedge them against the screen to the vertical. And then you can do what I did for the climbing structures for the vivarium we've got up here. So on the last few videos, and put hooks and eyelets between different bits of logs and put horizontals, like Paul said, between all of them. So everything's like manually able to be taken out, so you can access the back as well. You can create and they rocks a little bit as well, so the crest you get a little bit of like stabilization exercise and those exterior muscles and stuff. That'd be really cool.
Enrichment.
Hashtag enrichment. I suppose I'll be ordering LEDs. She has a broken tail and doesn't curl.
What are you rating out of 10?
7.
7's across the board.
Right, let me read the next one quickly. That's the same one. Okay, I think that's the end of that one. Let me make sure.
If you get one from like Mike Januario, then you have to skip over it and come back when he's back, because he's here for me, but he's had to go off to have lunch. So
okay, cool. This is one from Sorf. I'd like to put my Russian rat snake enclosure forward for feedback. It's has graduated from 3 foot Exoterra. It's a self-built, and I don't think an off-the-shelf enclosure size would be secure enough for such a small snake. It's 120 wide, 60 deep, and 70 high with a screen top. I use Lignosil with leaflets of pine cones, twigs to give them varied texture and smells. The plants are fake, but the rockery stone is real. Plenty of cork tubes and branches to give extra hiding spots and make use of 3D space. Lighting is a halogen T5 UV and a jungle dawn. LED, Paul, LED.
I can't criticize that now. What else am I going to pick apart?
I'm happy to decide. I'm really happy I decided to use this background. She can really show off her climbing abilities. The ability to climb really shows off Shrinky, are the Asian equivalent of black rat snakes. Okie dokie. Let's start on these images. This is the first one.
Okay.
So this one doesn't really show you much. Let me just move to the next one because it's a better image. That's a bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the dragon thing decoration in the middle.
Yeah.
That definitely allows it to climb. You can see climbing structures up the top left and stuff. Really bright enclosure as well, which is really good. I like the little high thing at the back right, which allows them to go underneath and
Yeah, and then get under the cork, under the hide, on top of the cork if they want. I'm sure they could probably get onto. Can you hear my mic messing up, or is that me, or is that you?
No, you sound fine.
But yeah, I like the background. I'm sure the snake could probably use that. Only thing I would like is, outside of trying to avoid too high UVI, is a branch completely vertical all the way, the whole 4 foot. And I reckon that snake would love that and go right the way across it. But
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Otherwise, I can't really pick anything else apart from that. I'd just add a vertical branch halfway up, outside of the UVI range. It's not even that big of a Russian rat as well, which is nice.
No, it's not a big snake, so it's a nice big enclosure for it. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at it basking.
I'm going to
like seeing snakes bask.
An 8.5 so far, you know. I think this is my favourite so far.
Look how it's climbing that back wall. That's so cool.
Literally, that's what I thought it was. That's sick. Like I say, for me, just one branch straight across the middle. Just maybe like not a solid branch, but like a sticky, twiggy branch. So there's like different, and you know, they can get in and out of every single little crack. I do like those. I used to have a Russian rat back in the day.
I'd give this an 8.
Yeah, it's a nice enclosure.
It's a solid 8, that one. Right, thank you very much for submitting. We're going to be moving on to the next one now. We've got so many, Paul.
I don't know what you've signed me up for. I thought it'd be in and out in an hour. Sounds like we're going to be here till midnight.
You aren't sleeping until we're done.
Oh.
Right, this is from Addy Limeroth. Sorry if I've just butchered your name. Limeroth, something along those lines. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hi, Liam. It says I'd like to be anonymous.
It's
Why
right.
don't I read?
You've said the name wrong, so it's fine.
Yeah, I said no name. Moving on. Here's the temporary enclosure I've put together for a young Western Hognose. The warm side has a Sansi 10-watt LED, 35-watt halogen flood, shade dweller positioned so they're all hitting the same spot. There's an additional LED grow light in the middle of the enclosure. All materials collected themselves. Plants to be added soon. Planning on adding a long list of plants, which I won't go through, but the enclosure is 12 by 12 by 30 inches and snakes by 10 inches now. Once he's bigger, we're going to a larger enclosure. But since he's a male, we'll be finding this one for a little while. He's on a diet of roughly 50% reptile and 50% rodent, with the occasional bird to more closely replicate their natural diet. Once he's larger, he can fit more things in his mouth and he can more accurately replicate the wild diet. But at the moment, I can't get amphibians that are small enough for him, so he has to eat more rodents than I'd like. I use your king snake care videos as a kind of blueprint for most of this and just applied my own experience seeing hogs in the wild and reading natural history notes to adjust for different species. Oh, cool. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. I apologize for not making you anonymous, but we move. Maybe I can just zoom in a little bit here. Can we do this the entire way? So that's great.
What species is this again, sorry?
It's a hognose.
Oh, cool.
So the hognose has lots of burrowing opportunities. Again, the entire back you can't see. So many objects in there for it to get underneath and get that thigmotaxis security of pressure and weight against his back. There's opportunities to climb. There's full shebang lighting, halogens, UV, LED spotlight, and LED grow light. I mean, that's tickled Paul right there.
I've got that set. I can't pronounce it, but like Sansa or whatever it is. I've got the 35 watt in my new big build. They're a good light. They're a good light. Yeah, no, I think that's incredible. The only thing I would do is just purely for aesthetics, as well as like I don't like glass enclosures that have glass sides and glass back. I like to blank them out. But if you put the cork like that Shrinky had in the last one on the sides and the back, just for aesthetics, that would then just look like a forest. And yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna give that one a 9. I really like that. That's a sick enclosure for a snake.
Wow. Yeah, it is. It is a great enclosure. Just want to focus on some of these guys because I've kind of like neglected to read much. But someone just emailed. This one is just hoggy excitement. True though, hoggy excitement. There's lots of emails. I'll cycle back through, guys, if we miss some emails. Hopefully we don't go 4 hours long, then we might have to cut it short. This might roll over to another one if it's that long, but let's move to the next image. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Look at that, Paul.
That's good. See what LEDs can do, guys.
Yeah,
LEDs,
he's not
mate.
wrong. He's not wrong. That is a lovely enclosure.
That is honestly, like I say, if you just put that natural cork sides, that would be a 10 out of 10. And that's purely just, like I say, that's just for human aesthetics rather than the Hognose might not use that, but that's a very complex, elaborate enclosure. And didn't they say it was a temporary one as well?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Imagine like that Hognose is like proper enclosure.
I love a lot of thin branches as well for them to like weave in between and like feel them bounce a little bit when they climb. And
I think this is a good thing when you take a lot of stuff out from nature though, because it obviously looks a lot more natural because obviously it's come from the wild. Are there any specific LEDs you'd recommend? That Sansa, that's basically that one that's to the left of the halogen. They're really good. Any form of plant grow, but if you can afford it, I like Arcadia Jungle Dawns, but if not, just buy a 6,500 Kelvin, ideally full spectrum. If not, just buy a 6,500 Kelvin LED batten, and it's better than nothing, but save up for like the Jungle Dawn or something. But 6,500 Kelvin is what you're looking for. So
I'm currently using the Dasku lamps. Have you used those?
No.
They're like LED spotlights that Rom got me onto. They're really good. They're cheap. They're like £7 off Amazon, and I think mine's 35 watts.
Are they? Oh no, okay. Are they E27 screw-ins?
Yeah.
I've got some, probably different brand, but I've got some. So basically, what I have in most of my enclosures is halogen, the LED spot, LED bar, and the UVB is pretty much what I have in all of my enclosures.
I've just had an idea. Do you know what I would say about this enclosure? Is chuck some grass seed in there or cress. Chuck some cress seeds in there, and then when you spray down the enclosure, they'll like root straight up. Who cares if they die? You can just reseed it. Cress seeds are like £1. Just if you had some green color, popping up, that would be 10 out of 10. Cress seeds, do it.
6,500 Kelvin fluorescent grow lights. They're pretty much the same thing. Grow lights and plant grow lights and LEDs are pretty much the same thing. Obviously, plant grow and aquarium lights and obviously jungle dawns are designed for reptiles, whereas other stuff is just designed for like the electrical industry. But 6,500 Kelvin will brighten your reptiles' lives for sure.
Let me just non-zoom out. Right, who are we up to? We're up to... Right, we're up to Ainsley McDaniel. I should really read if they want to say anonymous before I read the name out first of all. Right, no, there's nothing about anonymous here. Okay, good, I'm safe. Right, hello. I reached out recently about sending you some photos for closure critiquing. I'm a huge fan of your content and share videos from your channel often so others can learn from you. Plug Reptiles and Research. Your work has had a huge influence on how I keep my animals, and it's been a very enjoyable process giving them upgrades to enrich their lives.
You've just scripted this. Someone did not send you that. You literally...
Me writing it last night.
I'm going to look great in this. Hey, Paul, do you want to come and do a live? Yeah, sure.
Let me just flex. Attached to the images of the bioactive 4x2x2 PVC enclosure for my 1.5-year-old corn snake Spaghetti. That's cute. Resides in very original name. I've tried to fill out so there's a lot of climbing and hiding and burrowing opportunities. I work as a paleo artist, so of course Spaghetti had to be something dinosaur related in there. His backdrop is a carved foam Allosaurus fossil I made with protruding ribs that serve as climbing. This is going to be so cool. Hang on. I believe his lighting does need to be tweaked a bit, but he has a 40-watt halogen on a dimmer and a T5HA reflective fixture with a Zoom-Ed UV. I realized after the fact that I installed it, there's a very little overlap, so it needs to be amended. I am also planning on adding a grow light in the future. LEDs for Paul. There you go. If you happen to see anything else that might attention, I'd love to give some feedback. I appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing more of your work in the future. Big flex. Thank you very much.
I think he's in chat. Is it McLizard? Because he's saying that's me.
Oh, it might be you. Thank you very much for the kind words. It's asking me to download these rather than just open them. So hold on.
Please bear with us, guys. Technical difficulties. I'd say a permanent vid for a hognose needs to resemble Great Plains. Maybe.
Bear with me, guys. I have to quickly just download these.
I'm just here for the lizards, which we've not had yet.
They will come. I've seen Aki's submissions.
I use a pack of 250-watt LEDs meant for lighting up garages. Yeah, there's like I've got some just 100-watt LED floods in this new big build I'm doing. They're not the best, but they light up the enclosure like great. So he's added the grow light after sending his original photos. I will take that into consideration, Mr. McLizard. Like I'm an expert.
I'm gonna have to change how I do this because it's not from that tab; it's from downloads. So
I don't know how these share downloads.
Oh, it's a .nef. Can I even open this? I can't open the file type. Oh,
We've run into our first problem.
okay. We'll circle back to this so we're not stalling. But I apologize after all that niceness you gave me. But worst case, we'll get we'll do this at the end when I can change the structure and move it to like looking at my downloads. I've downloaded them for now. We'll see what we can do. Matthew. So this is a 4x3x4 PVC VivTech lighting.
I know who this is.
3-foot Jungle Dawn, 3-foot Arcadia T5, 100-watt cage ceramic for winter overnight ambient in a microclimate Evo, 75-watt basking Arcadia spotlight for shorter periods in the day, cork sides with substrate consisting of eco-worth leafleter and a bit of topsoil. Juvenile monkey tail skinks. Ooh.
This is my very good friend.
It's rubbish.
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
I've seen this enclosure in person, so.
Oh
yeah, this is a really good friend of mine. So I'll let you critique it, go through the pictures if you send multiple, and then I'll say my comments.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Right. Bam. Oh, look at that. So I've worked with these when I worked at Emsworth. Well, I've worked with one of these, shall I say. This is far better than what we had. Yeah, I can't see the back, which is great. All the walls are something that it can climb, which makes it so much more three-dimensional. Let me go back to the other one, just because I want to see if the that's just dirty, so I can't.
So there's a halogen on the left. That lamp holder that's on the left there, that's a halogen. But because his room's quite hot at the moment, so it pretty much doesn't come on because obviously monkey tails don't want it hot. But that is a halogen. Then on the right, there's a ceramic for the winter. Is there
a log beneath the halogen? Is that one ahead of it or
I think that one that's sort of not where the cup is, behind the cup, I think that's under. That's a cork tube under the halogen. Yeah.
Then I like it a lot. How big's the enclosure again? It was
4 foot tall, 4 foot wide, 3 foot deep.
Oh, that is a nice enclosure.
And I think he's upgrading them at some point as well.
They live in family units, don't they?
Yeah, so he's hoping to breed them and have see the babies. So my critiques, because he's a friend. What are you giving it out of 10?
I mean, that's a solid 9.
Yeah, so the only thing I would say that he needs to do is add. Well, even then, I was going to say add another light, even though he already has a Jungle Dawn. But are they crepuscular or are they nocturnal or something like that? So adding another light is almost irrelevant. For the most part, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I'm not just saying it I need to try and think of something because otherwise people are going to think I'm biased to my friend. I would add, so the back right, somewhere at the back right to the front, I would add another branch or two because it's pretty open there. But outside of that, I would, because obviously they're arboreal, so they're going to use all the space. But outside of that, it's a pretty good enclosure.
I wonder if you could like do like a bird box style hide box at the top right there in
So
that
that
gap.
left-hand side, that cork
Mm.
tube, left-hand side, far left, they pretty much both just live in there.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. No, you're not wrong. Like a box on the right would be cool, or another cork tube just to fill up the space, like because there's a little bit of space there. But yeah, I know how much money he spent on that wood because he got it all from a pet shop.
I mean, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have just gone outside personally, but
Yeah, no,
it's the second closure.
He got it all. So no, it's good. I'll give it a 9. It's not a 10. I'll give it a 9.
Elsie has said, all these lighting details is making me realise I need to do more research and learn my specs. When my Chihuahua gecko enclosure comes up, I'd love a UVB suggestions. He most likely needs an upgrade. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to do these, so you can keep them in it as many times as you want.
For the most part, what's it, 2.5 shade dweller that they do, the gecko one?
Yeah.
Yeah, just get like a 2.5 percent shade dweller thing. LEDs. Just LEDs is like visible light. For a nocturnal animal, people are like, well, but why do we need it? But it creates such a better environment for your enclosure, your plants. It's a much better way to enable your reptiles' cones and their eyes to really get the difference between that daytime, nighttime cycle, as well as it does help overall color and like oxytocin levels, even of nocturnal species, you know. And the way I see keeping reptiles is I'm no expert, but if we can, why not? Just give them the option. So just put it in for the sake of putting it in is what I would do.
The thing that I would add to that is that what most people don't realize is that like a day-night cycle is really important for nocturnal species, if not more important for diurnal. And let me explain that. So the production of like melatonin in like diurnal species like us causes us to go to sleep when it's dark. Whereas in reverse, for nocturnal species, melatonin makes them active, but light causes like a reduction in melatonin. So if you think that if you just kept a nocturnal species darkly 100%, they're not getting the appropriate cycle to know when their activity period should be. So you think it's actually worse for nocturnal species because as a diurnal species like us, if we wanted to sleep at a certain time, what could we do? We cover our eyes, lay face down, cover our arms, cover our face. A nocturnal species, it can't turn towards a light that's not there to make it sleepy. So nocturnal species are screwed without having that day-night cycle. So if anything, in my opinion, it's more important to a nocturnal species to have a period of light to allow them to like sleep properly. No one thinks about that.
Hashtag LEDs.
Hashtag LEDs.
Science simple.
Sponsored by LEDs.
Sponsored by LEDs. Don't forget your LEDs, guys.
Right, let's move on to. Oh, there's another one. Is this the same one? Let me just.
He said he might submit a couple of enclosures.
No, this is something else. So let me read this. So this is a 5 by 2.5 by 6 width. The lighting is 2 times T5 UV 3 foot, 75 watt halogens at both ends for basking, 2 times 6,500 LED battens at 3 foot, 2 times 2 foot tube heater at the bottom on a Microclimate Evo Pro, mixture of fake and live plants, substrates, leaf litter, eco, earth, and topsoil. And this is currently housing a 1.1 group of Varanus prasinus. Spicy. These people with money, eh?
This is one of these prasinus are mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the
Which
same
one's
guy.
the ugly one?
Mine. Also, Mook Lizard has sent you stuff on JPEG format now.
Okay, cool. We'll cycle back to that. Brilliant. Yeah, this is cool. You lead. This is your
My
thing.
area. Yeah, so again, I've seen this enclosure. So basically, there's a divider in the middle. So when the female lays, the right-hand side is where the nest box is. The left-hand side will hold the male. So that bit in the middle, I don't know if there's more pictures, but that bit in the middle is a wall.
There
so
are.
you've got layers both sides. So there's a pass through that he blocks through. What would I do better? I would add more vertical branches from floor to ceiling because there's not many in there. There's loads of complexity horizontally, but I'm a massive fan because my prasinus climb vertically a lot, and I'd add a few more twiggy branches, but his prasinus do like to jump. So not having the twiggy branches allows them to jump. Having the twiggy branches allows complexity of muscle density. So I would add a couple more verticals and maybe 1 or 2 more cork tubes on the sides. But then also I would leave the back open because they need a place to hang vertically when they're in fertilogenesis. Also, they're having eggs. So
Like a mantis.
yeah, so those open sides, a monitor lizard will just hang arms up, like legs akimbo, like so you need a place where they can hang, but obviously they want to hang at different temperatures, so it is good to also have open space. But I would, like I say, add definitely vertical branches, 1,000,000%, and a few more cork tubes. What are you saying?
This is not my area. I've not worked with ranids like this before. I've worked with Akis and some bit more terrestrial, even croc monitors, but not like these guys. The one thing I will say is I saw that how much space do these guys really need, because I've seen them at Crocodiles of the World and they've got like huge enclosures and they're still at the top grating their face off.
So me and Matt have this conversation a lot. You can't give a monitor enough space. They're a very horrible captive because you can't give them enough space. Sadly.
Fair enough.
That's the female nest side.
You lead.
I've already said about it. That's just the side that I like. Their heads the divider, because a lot of people, again, keeping monitors, they just assume that the male and female will be fine together. The female can become incredibly nest defensive and she will kill your male. And males can also eat the eggs. And when you've got thousands of pounds worth of eggs in a nest box, you don't want your male going in and eating them. So, and then that's the side that the male is in. So they both have decent levels of complexity and both have the exact same lighting, ray, and rig for the most part. But yeah, like I say, there's vertical branches I think are slept on, because my sarong will completely climb 5 foot completely vertical. He'd go more, but he doesn't have the option yet. I will be building maybe I'll submit it here one day, a 6x6 or a 7x6 or something like that for them.
That'd be cool. Maybe I'll see it in person one day.
One day. I've got that big, the 6x4x6 that I'm building at the minute is huge.
I'll wait until it's done.
It's built. I just need, the lights are in. I just need to put some shelves in, but it's huge.
That'd be cool to see.
Huge. Yeah.
Vlog coming to this channel, guys.
Liam keeps inviting himself to my house because he wants to play with my boss.
Right. Moving on from this enclosure then. Oh, what's this? I noticed my king snake's the most active when light from the side or neighboring terrarium is on. I think it emulated sun. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, to be fair, my king snakes are active whenever, to be fair. But as a crepuscular species, it makes sense. Right. Next enclosure, guys. So we are up to this one. See, this is Carlotta. Dear Liam, this is the second part of my... Oh, so where's the first part? Bear with me.
We've been going for nearly an hour now, though.
But we're nowhere near done.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I would like to submit our ball python upgrade. My daughter's and mine ball python is called Jojo. She is 6 months old. We got her in February at the expo in Berlin, Germany. She's on frozen thawed rats. We currently went from weekly feeding to every 14 days. She has shed twice since we got her, no problem. Currently finished being blue again. She's our first snake. She started out in February in a 100 by 50 by 50 enclosure with a heat panel and a simple lamp for day and night cycles. Your channel and the Not So Just a Pet Rock Facebook group maybe want to do better. Thank you very much. We got her a 4.
Stop adding stuff, man.
I can add whatever I want. You don't know.
I already know you added it. They've just put, this is my snake enclosure, please review. And you just added all this.
I'm making up a book on the spot. This is a 120 by 60 by 80 enclosure. The built a background with cork tunnels incorporated. The bedding is 14 centimeters deep, a mixture of cocoa fiber and soil, icebergs and springtails. We planted grass and gollywook. She has a warm and cool hide and a moist hide. It's a Mega Ray 100-watt mercury vapor and a Arcadia Forest Lily UV for daylight. Heat panel for night heat. Temperature at the day is 27 to 32. The surface underneath is 36. Nighttime temperatures are 27 to 37. She moved in 2 weeks ago. Her favourite spot is in the top left cork tunnel back wall. My daughter does choice-based handling with her, and Jojo asked to be comes out to see her when she isn't or in blue or just been fed. Okay, let's bring up the first image. So this, you can't really see the full size, but the fact there's like big clumps of grass is pretty cool.
I like the basket, even though it's very like unnatural. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like Eddie's a big fan of like things like that. Like she has a big dog toy, like ropes hanging suspended from the top of her bullbird's enclosure, and it climbs and uses it.
Yeah,
Sits up on it, looking out the window, watching cars go past. So,
I do like it.
not my personal taste, but I mean,
Oh wow, you've got ads in the middle of a live stream. How annoying!
have I?
Yeah,
I didn't know you could do that.
neither do I.
Whoop whoop!
Money.
It makes no money. Let's be honest. Right. So next image. Let's get hope for a larger, more. Right. That one shows the hides and stuff. I'm hoping for an image that shows it all. I think it might be a bit incremental. Oh, the snake in the basket's cool.
See, there you go.
So I think I need to, if I cycle through repeatedly, and you can give me your feedback, Paul, whilst I cycle for you.
Okay, so the first picture, I don't know if this person has a solar meter, but they're using an MVB, and I don't know the UVI of a royal, but UV stacks.
Like two.
So you've got a UVB, and then you've got the mercury vapors. You're potentially going to have too high UVI, potentially. Also, as well, by not allowing the UVB to couple with like a halogen, you're not hitting the peaks of the live light waves to the optimal, if we're being pernickety. I think a lot of people, I don't care for this personally, but I think a lot of people say that you shouldn't have UVB spanning across the whole enclosure. You should only have it like in the basking area. And again, for me, keeping Varanas, I couldn't care about that. But just to be nitpicky. But I think it looks good. Like I like the mercury vapors in the sense of the light that they give. They look a little bit cleaner than halogens. They're not good when you want to try and film them because they strobe, but they do give a little bit whiter light. Like I say, I like the basket. I like the complexity of the background. I think the background's incredible. I like the grass. I'm a fan of the grass. I'd probably add one or two more branches in the foreground. But outside of that, I think it looks good.
What would you rate it?
I don't know if we've been doing that, but I think we've forgotten the last few. I would rate this.
We just didn't rate your mates.
Yeah, no. I would rate this. So it's 100 by 50 by 50.
Yeah.
So 3 foot by just shy of 2 foot by just shy of 2 foot. I think it's an 8. I think it's all right.
I was going to say 7.5. So yeah, around that sort of spot.
Yeah, I think it's all right. Well, what's your critique? Give me 2 negatives.
I think there's a lot of open space in the middle, but you can't put much near that mercury vapor because they get incredibly hot, and you also don't want the animal to climb up near that mercury vapor at all. I mean, they want like a UVI of 2 royals, 4 at a push if you were going for like a nice solid basking spot, and then 2 midway, and then like 0 at the end. But yeah, I would be hesitant to get them too close to that mercury vapor. Maybe a horizontal one behind the mercury vapor across the top.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's all right, I think.
Yeah, it looks good. I think it looks good. I think it looks natural. I quite like natural ones, but I also like the home basket. I think that's a nice touch. Someone said 120 by 60 by 80. This is C.
Yeah, it is 80. I just you got the idea, so I just let you carry on. I like the fact that the basket will swing and move a little bit, and the ropes will move, and that will develop like, muscle strength as well, which is really important.
Yeah, I like it. Like I say, I'd add a couple more branches. I'd probably swap out the MVB for a halogen, and I'd push the UVB to the right.
Agreed, yeah.
And then put an LED over it. But other than that,
you put an LED in? What?
Why would I not? I'm gonna say it for every enclosure that doesn't have it.
He's sponsored by Jungle Dawn, everyone. Right, let's move on from this one. Thank you very much for submitting.
I wish.
So the next one is Jamie. God, this is a lot of text. Okay, cool. Hi, Liam. My name is Jamie, a fellow member of AHH and a long-time watcher. I recently adopted my first 2 snakes, boy within a month of each other, are both within a month. I can't read. And I've been really excited to build their enclosures. They aren't completely finished yet, but I'm one of those people who will be constantly tinkering to make them better. I know you aren't currently looking for submissions for another video, but I wanted to send one anyway for next time if that's okay. This might have been. Anyway, we have a 55-gallon plain Hognose enclosure. The background was custom made from foam, dry like concrete tint, and acrylic paints. There's a full spectrum LED, lighting, UV, halogen during daytime. The ambient temperature in my house stays warm enough overnight, so a temperate species does not need nighttime heating. He has a large water bowl and he loves to swim in it. And he has a special custom buried hide, also made of foam. He's a very active guy during the day and often seen doing laps around all the nooks and crannies he can find. The other is the ball python, which I believe the usable space comes to roughly 150 gallons. This was an old entertainment center that I sealed and converted. Interesting. He has a large litter pan for a pool of water with a pump that he likes to soak in occasionally, several cork grounds that he adores in various locations, and half-buried hide that acts as a humid burrow that which he also frequents. Like the Hognose, he has full spectrum LED, UV, and daylight halogen daytime heating, plus a deep heat projector at nighttime temperatures. The plants are new and in various states of health, but I'm sure they'll get dialed in with time. He spends much of the daytime sleeping, but when he's active around dawn and dusk, he's always climbing and exploring. All caps, always. His favourite hide is the cork ground on the cool, high, and dry side of his enclosure. He's there almost every day at some point or another. I thoroughly enjoy how educational your content is, and that and that I often come away from your videos having learned something new. Please keep it up, and feel free to add any constructive criticism you might have. Right.
What species was this? Sorry.
First one's a Hognose and a royal.
Okay. Right.
So. Let me share this. Thank you for the praise again. Thank you very much. My ego is like skyrocketing right now. So this is the Hoggy.
Okay.
We can see how small that Hoggy is. I like that enclosure. It's pretty cool. Let's move on to the next image. That burrow. That's cool. That's really cool.
You wanted that in one of the other enclosures, so you got it now.
I really like that. I really like this. That's that cryptic behavior.
That looks sick, yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Stream living.
Right, we'll move on to the royal now. So let's stick to the Hoggy. Thoughts?
I know that they said, and I think it's, but don't worry, I think it's behind it. So you've got the full spectrum LEDs, and then behind it you've got UVB there, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Again, glass sides, I would just black them out. It just reduces the stress chances. I'm sure the animal's not stressed, but it just reduces it. It's hard to avoid, but I'd probably gone from a front opening rather than a top opening. Again, just being pernickety, but for the most part, it looks good. Like you say, the burrow is really nice. The fact that you've added that and thought about that, and the snake actually utilizes it, which is really cool. And I like the background's thick enough that a Hognose can utilize the background, so it's not only aesthetically pleasing, it's functional. So
the whole thing's climbable as well, including that background.
Yeah,
I'd say 9.
Yeah, it was 8.5. I was thinking, yeah.
Just shows how close our ratings are together, though.
We're gonna one. We've got to disagree on completely at some point.
I like this one. So this is the Royal Python. Top right cork ground at the top, basking spots up on the air on the left.
I like that. That's cool.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. Love the plant growth. The pothos at the bottom is going to climb up all that structure and be really cool. Let's move to the next image. There's the royal. Oh, look at that. That's a pond at the bottom left, I think.
That's smart. Yeah, he said they put a cat litter tray with a pump in there.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's a smart enclosure. I don't really know. Again, it's not my level of expertise, but I don't really know what I would add.
Shelves.
Maybe go a little bit wider if you ever upgrade. But again, I'm just being pernickety. I don't think it, quote unquote, needs it.
I think you could probably add a lot of shelves to that back wall. There's a lot of open space there that could be used to
Jamie's
put some
in
more
chat.
stuff.
Thank you. The background does include caves that aren't visible in the Hoggy. There you go. Big brain
Oh,
from
that's even
Jamie.
cooler. Okay, you might have just got it to a 10 for me then. If there's caves along all the way across the back, I think that might be a 10.
You should have once a glass window hide discussion. It's so interesting to be able to peek at your animal. Yeah, so you can make like, because some people do that for scorpions, don't they? They allow them to create burrows and then move it away so they can see them.
Even if you had like a bit of card that you taped along the wall just to lift it up if you wanted to along the glass.
Yeah, no, like I say, again, I'm not a snake person, but they both look pretty. I would give this one an 8.7.
Oh, that's harsh.
Why do you think? I don't
I
know.
would say I would 8.7. I was going to say 9.5, so not that far off to be fair. I would say so. Just some shelving at the back would really take this up. Yeah, it's really cool enclosure. You can still submit, but it might not be reviewed yet. We'll see. We'll see how far we get.
Liam's all right. What are you doing with your life tomorrow?
What am I doing in my life?
Yeah.
I'm just going to see Ellie. I think so. Not much, to be fair.
Some of us have got to go to work.
This is my work. Right, we'll see until you tap out. Yeah, we'll move on to the next enclosure. So I love this enclosure. Thank you very much for submitting.
Is this your favorite one so far? Is that the best one so far?
The combination of the two, I'd say. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Wowzers.
This is a part 2. Where's the first one? Right, okay. So hang on. Okay, so hello Liam. I hope this finds you well. I'd like to submit this motor for your YouTube channel. To the matter of that, I would also like to congratulate you for your brilliant work on your ball python project. Brilliant work. Well, it's not come out yet, so just hold the praises.
Everybody watching this now, 40 people watching this right now. I know this man personally. He doesn't need you to stroke his ego. Okay?
I'm just confident in my abilities. That's all it is. Oh, this is an Aki monitor. Okay, this is for you, Paul. This is my male Aki monitor. It's 5x2x3. Nice I prefer size. Bigger. He has about 6 to 10 inches of digging space around the entire enclosure, but he has a dig box as well under his basking site that grants him approximately 1.4 feet, which is sprayed down often. In the lights, I would have as follows: a 50-watt flood bulb, 22-watt Arcadia Jungle Dawn for visible light, Arcadia T5 12% UVB bulb, which gives me a UVI of around 4.5 to 5 at the required basking zone. Nice. I'm going to click on this. Oh,
probably nicer than my one by the sounds of it. That's a nice Aki enclosure.
That is a nice enclosure.
Okay. Go through the pictures before I comment. We'll just go through the pictures and then we'll come back.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. It's just those two.
It's just those two. Okay. It's a nice Aki.
It's nice. It's a big Aki, isn't it?
Yeah. Go back to the first one, please.
Sure.
So, I'm just going to say it's a nice enclosure, but I'm going to nitpick because I feel like I'm not going to get many opportunities because of the Snake channel. I would make the background, like the back, a background because it will 100% use it. And I can see that you have an Arcadia above the basking spot and the UVB. I would add an Arcadia onto the cool/dark side. Because these guys are going to be out in the Australian sun and it's going to be incredibly bright. You want a very, 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 very high lux output on an Aki. I like the complexity and levels because obviously there's going to be loads of different micro habitats, microclimates, microgradients, humidity pockets in there. I like that. I like that you've allowed a dig box because they need it for enrichment as well as shedding issues. And an Aki will always retreat to deep soil when the humidity isn't enough. Maybe a little bit bigger water bowl, but for the most part, I think it's a pretty good enclosure. To be fair, like you say, add a bit of complexity as in the actual background. I know they just stacked the back right up, but for the most part, and maybe swap out the incandescent for a tungsten, but they do the same thing, but it's a little bit more harsh, let's say that way, in the sense of a tungsten's that a little more pack per watt, a little bit more punch per watt in comparison to a tungsten. But I use both incandescent, sorry, but I use both, so But for Ackies, I like tungsten halogens. But again, add another LED on the side and put a bit more on the background, and that's a sick enclosure. I give it a 9. It's a good enclosure.
I think that's the closest to a 10 we've come across.
It's a good enclosure.
Am I really that red? Well, to be fair, on that note, look at this.
It's all the compliments that he's been given. He's blushing.
Look at that. That's what I'm sat in right now.
It's nothing. Mine was 40 degrees.
Michael says, hey. Michael is in. No, that's the wrong one. Michael says, hey. And to answer this question, reptiles and research submissions at gmail.com. It's spicy in here. Right. Moving on to the next one. Oh, there was a part 2
of the Ackie.
Part 2 is the Cresty. So we have my crested gecko, she's a 60, 45, 60. It's fully bioactive with various springtails, isopods, various bottles, and a few small, I assume that means beetles, and millipedes. Native plants, lighting wise as follows: 25-watt flood, Arcadia shade alert, jungle dawn. Yeah, I'll open this image. It's one image.
This is the same person as the Ackie?
Yeah.
That's smart.
Pretty good.
I'd add a few more branches.
I agreed.
Was that like talking in the third person then? I agreed. Rather than you agree.
Yeah, well, it's hot.
Welcome to being live, my friend.
I think it's very good.
No, it's really smart. I really like the plants and stuff. I would add a few more branches. I don't think I'd change much or else about it. I would add a few more branches, and I think that's about it. So again, I'd give it a 9.
Yeah, I'd probably say 8.5 is what I was going to go for. So yeah, pretty similar again. These reptile enclosures are epic. Like even the worst one is still in the 95th percent. Yeah,
I should have submitted one of mine. I forgot.
I think people worry that we're gonna be like too critical when it's not like that on here. I've never been critical in these past enclosure reviews either. I've always been like trying to be as helpful as possible. So I don't know. I don't know why maybe people feel like, oh, this isn't good enough to submit. It's all about getting help, not about like, is this good enough to show off? But I understand that as well. Right, next one. I'm sweating my tits off.
It's pretty hot up here. I don't know. I haven't got a thermometer, but I'm in a loft, just for reference. And you and I live very close to each other, so we'll have same temperatures outside.
Yeah, it's sweaty out there.
Yeah.
For reference to people watching, in the UK, when it's hot, it is bloody hot because it's not like the US where it's like, oh, it's hot outside, boo-hoo, let's go into the aircon. We don't have aircon.
No, my reptile room today, guys, was 40 degrees, which is 107 degrees Fahrenheit. So let that sink in.
Right. So this one is, here's my enclosure, my green anole. That's
nice. Honestly, I'm a massive fan of green anoles. I really like
wanted to get them.
They're sick. I used to have them like back in the day. They're a cool lizard.
So yeah, that's a big anole enclosure. No dimensions other than it just says, here's my anole. You can see plenty of lighting up there. Let me zoom in for you actually, guys. There we go, a bit more. So that's a maximum. Oh, this is a custom reptile habitat, isn't it? A maximum reptile, custom reptile habitat. Sponsor of the podcast, custom reptile habitat, guys. If you want premium PVC enclosures, link in description.
This one's a 10 out of 10, guys.
This one's a 10 out of 10, guys. He pays the bills.
I like it. I think it's smart. I like the little sticks and twigs. I like the plants. From what I can see, it's got usable size. Yeah, looks like there's an LED at the back, so I'm happy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for an anole, I think anoles are really, really active, aren't they?
Yeah. They're literally like cheap man's monitors. They're real inquisitive animals.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of anoles. I've worked with Bombiceps, Transversalis, and the Budai, the yellow-headed giant night anole. They're really cool.
Jamie, you missed my reaction to your Crocs. No. No.
You're gonna have to see it on the replay where there's even more
My
ads.
friend, we got the matching camos. Honestly, mate, you got a 12 out of 10. You're a sexy man, and I love you. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. I like this. This is a nice
I
enclosure.
was going to say a 9 as well. So snap.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
next
Jamie,
one.
you have to watch it back. Someone clip it. You, honestly, you and I. Next day, HH, buddy. Camo Crocs together.
Oh, that's the same one. 1 second. Oh, this is a walk-in Gila monster exhibit.
Sick.
Oh, this is Zoe. She's got a zoo. This doesn't count. You can't
Shut up.
submit zoo
Get
enclosures.
it on the screen. Let's pick this thing apart.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of writing. Let me. Okay. This is a book. Do I read this or just skip to the pictures?
Let's go to the pictures.
Okay, I'll skip to the pictures.
Because we're not allowed to submit zoos.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm waiting to
Very
see
nice.
all the pictures.
Very nice. Very nice.
Is that outside?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's pretty.
Is she in the UK?
I don't think so. I think this is US based.
Oh, no, it's not outside.
Yeah, dollars. There you go. So that's something she's using in there. She's using the camera in there. The whole shebang. There is a lot of text. I feel like I should read it out just for justice, but it is a lot. For speed's sake, I'm going to say we're going to move on. Again, maze enclosure. We can't compete. Moving on. I realized what I did.
That's right, you're fine.
It's only a zoo. That's fine. They're milking. This one just says, thanks once again from Harry.
I like Harry. Me and Harry can be friends. 10 out of 10.
It's put all the text in the about section of the email. So hang on. I've quite a collection of 15-year-old and has just been offered a zoo and offered a job in a zoo. Nice. Right. So I need to download. Oh, this isn't going to work because it requires me to download it. I did not think that through. Again, that's going to be a cycle back one, I'm afraid. Sorry. Can I view album? Here's my retic, the Kalatoa. He gets a lot of time outside his 4x2x2. So there's a retic in a 4x2x2. He's 1.1 meters. So it's just under the length of 4x2x2.
It's just over 3 foot.
Let's view the album. Oh, wow. Okay. How do I...
Album, whereabouts is this?
It's taking me out of emails. It's taking his Google Photos.
You can maybe share, if you try and share screen again, like click share screen and see if it comes up as an option.
Share screen. This one.
Because you can share multiple screens.
So this should work now. Yes, so we're on this. Okay, so let me bring up this first one. Again, lovely retic, beautiful.
They are cool snakes, you know. It's a Kalatoa. That's a super dwarf, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it out of its enclosure, climbing on structures outside the enclosure.
It's a very small snake.
This is a custom raptor habitats. Check out custom raptor habitats.
10 out of 10.
20 out of 10.
Just we'll flick through the pictures.
Yeah,
and
I'm
we can
flicking.
come
Oh,
back.
that's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Look at all those climbing structures outside the enclosure.
Yeah, it's pretty.
You can tell he watches loitering.
I want to build a tree in my place.
I've got plans for that. Oh, look at that climbing structure.
That's pretty cool.
Sky Hide as well.
Okay, where does he like to hang out?
We've got
Sky
voice.
Hide is obviously a favorite. He'll also go back in that that cork round or on top of it if he wants to be right up next to the radiant heat panel. Sometimes he'll lounge on his hammock there. He also likes to bask quite a bit on the grapevine and the rope. He'll go like this and around and
I feel like this is a presentation.
Part of his
school.
body, the back part is the warmer part, and this part
It's only a
here
minute long,
is,
guys.
more of the UVB. They're as close together as I can get them, but he uses them quite a bit. He also loves to hang out in the cork round down there and kind of hide, because that's the door that most often gets opened as well. But he'll also go under the cork round. He'll sometimes sleep under his water dish, which is weird, but retics do weird stuff. Okay, where does he like to hang out?
Okay, we're going to stop that. I want to go back to the
Okay,
there's
so I
another
took the-
video. We're going to stop at a full frontal image so we can talk about it. Okay, maybe there wasn't one that was appropriate to stop. We'll stop here. So, thoughts?
You go first. You're the snake man.
And the snake man.
I know you're gonna like the rope because it moves.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think it's really important to allow the animals to get that type of exercise. I'm also planning on doing something for the deep dive where up in the Viv, it's the one I've got the king snake in with the climbing structures. That snake's going to move down to the Viv below. The royal's going to go in there with a subfloor rack, like Applegate style, but also climbing structures on top of the enclosure like that, and a big rope going across the ceiling with the sky hard up in the corner of the room. So like the royal can actually climb across like the door frame and everything. So hopefully when people are like, oh, it's only 2 feet of space, doesn't mean they climb. When I can show her like up in the corner of the room in the sky hide that she's climbed across ropes and stuff to get to, hopefully that'd be more like obvious. So I'm going to emulate this slightly as well. The big thick ropes is what I'm going to try and use. I think that it's a really good enclosure. I think it's climbing opportunities within the enclosure. There's a sky hide. You can near enough see that it can hide along the back without roughly being seen. Yeah, and then the opportunities outside the enclosure is fantastic. I can't compete with it personally.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the complexity in the fort that's gone into it. There's 10 out of 10. The complexity in fort. I like that he knows his snake very well. I like that. I'm sure every single person that's submitted knows their animal incredibly very well. But I like that he's catered to what he knows his snake likes. I like that he's got LEDs in there and live plants. So yeah, I'll give it a 9. It's a solid 9.
I'm going to say 9.5. It's just not a 10 because I'm saving a 10 for something that absolutely like shocks me and blows my mind. But that is
Yeah, 9.5 is a good enclosure.
right. So let's just touch base with everyone in the chat again. Poor Zoe spent all that time. I know. Zoe will understand. I know Zoe. All right. Okay. When am I going to stop pull out of a sponsorship? That's not up to me. Don't
worry. Paul's on to other things. Don't worry.
Yeah, you could have sent videos. You could have. Right, now I'm going to have to stop sharing and then present. Bear with you guys. I need to reset this up for the emails again. No. Right, okay, cool. Thank you very much, Paul. We're going to move on from this. Gary. Oh, so this is my old lecture at Spa Shop. So this one is a personal one. So I was on for a while looking for a temperate species of amphibian that I hadn't kept before. So this is the guy that taught me a lot of things. So sort of a project. I also wanted a foam nesting species that also is new to me as an experienced keeper. I had a custom glass built tank, 80 by 50 by 100 free. And a couple of years ago, I saw a Japanese flying frog available on a list. Perfect. Their range runs from north to central Japan and have a temperature range not too dissimilar to southern UK. What? Hot as shit. Is that what it is? I purchased 3 from one source and 2 from another, luckily getting a 1.4 breeding group. I bought a couple of Fatsia japonica for planting and found some oak heartwood for branches. They're really resilient to humidity. UV is 6% Arcada T5 and a reflective canopy that offers a UVI of about 3.4. And the top leaves down to 0 at the bottom of the tank. No supplementary heating as needed or required. I do not use substrate until winter, and I found that they do not interact with the ground until when they're looking to burrow to hibernate. excuse me, I housed the tank in an unheated conservatory that allowed them to experience the full range of seasonal changes in temperatures. So far, this has ranged from 0.5 degrees in this winter, averaging 3 to 4, up to 35 degrees in the summer, averaging 26 to 28. I housed a tank for winter. I reduced the size of the water dish and added a deep substrate of topsoil and leaf litter. The frogs disappear from view to the end of November when it drops below 8, bearing down to the substrate. The hibernate until March when temps start peaking at 10 degrees. Over this time, they do not feed and occasionally come up for a quick soak in the shallow warm dish. I managed to chat to a couple of European breeders about the frogs. They're keeping them greenhouse setups. I managed to find a paper that described the breeding season in Japan and looked at the success rate of foam nests due to location and rain during over 2 years. Following this, I learned to spray every day at the start of May until the male began calling occasionally. Next, I needed to build a rain chamber that allowed them to attach foam nests onto plant leaves. I installed a pump and filter to push water up through the tubing, which connected to a rectangle of pipes with tiny holes in to create the rain and fill the bottom of the water with mature water at about 2 inches depth. I then placed the plants onto masonry bricks so as to not rot the roots and kill them, and position the plants either side so that the rain stream fell between and running off some of the outer leaves but not into the plant pots. I used a smart plug to regulate the control of when the rain is and for how long, which worked well for the first day or so until I made multiple changes. I finished on a routine that rained for 10 to 20 minutes every 3 hours during the day, and then at 11 p.m. a 2-hour shower. Within the rest of a few hours, the male began to cool, and then the next morning he was in amplexus, which is when they like hug, when they shag, basically. 4 days later, I came home to find a foam nest attached to the leaves over the water. At this point, I reduced the raining to 5-minute bursts and nighttime flood for 30 minutes 2 days later. I am now at 1 week after the first nest and movement from the tadpoles. Whoo! Breaking a sweat from this. So yeah, I just don't have much to say for Gary. He lectured me when I did my degree and stuff. So bit of a weird turn of events. This it's a nice frog.
Now the teacher is becoming the taught.
So those are 3 images. It's not of the actual enclosure, but you can see the rain coming down on that frog. That's really cool. I think he sent a second email. So what I'll do is I'll find that now for us. I'm assuming the other one is like of more of the images. Gary, yes. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, so he has more images. Cool. Let me share these. So that's the leaves after going down into the water. Oh, I can't look at that file. I have to download it. So I can't look at those two unless I do that at the end. But yeah, it sounds amazing. I don't know enough about them to critique. It feels a bit awkward critiquing you at this stage. It's a bit weird. But yeah, it looks cool. This is the Japanese flying frogs, for those that want to know.
I mean, there's not really a lot to go on in a sense, but the detail of the description sounds like he definitely knows what he's doing. I see in the comment a lady called Susie said that I'm with Gary. If you have any questions, no LED. So I'm not a fan. So...
It's pretty cool. I don't really have much to say. I'm not a frog person, so I can't critique it in any sort of way. So it's cool to see, though.
Yeah, sounds like they've got it down in the sense of how much they're actually what's the word I'm thinking of?
Dialed in.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. But cheers, Gary. Yeah, I can't critique. Now we're moving on to Jamir. Jamir. So Hognose and a 4x18 by 12. I mean, you can see the back, can burrow underneath things. Doesn't really say much about basking, but I can see there's like the ribbed edge of maybe a jungle dawn up there.
There's definitely a halogen on the left.
Yeah, it's definitely a halogen. There's probably UV if there's a jungle dawn. Looks good.
Yeah, it's smart. Again, I would add a few more climbing opportunities in the middle of that enclosure outside of getting too high of a UVI, and black out the sides. But it's good. Give it.
I'd agree with that.
8.
I was going to say an 8 as well.
Speed run.
Let's get through them now. Yeah. Right.
I mean, I'm not in a rush, but I just felt like that one, probably because there was no description, but it felt like a bit of a speed run.
So this is a leopard gecko.
Nice.
This is my voice is going now, but let's get through this text. Am I sharing? Let me just double check. No, I'm not. Okay, cool. Lovely. Hi, this is my baby leopard gecko's quarantine enclosure. It's a 6-month-old rescue. I'll upgrade to a 40-gram or bigger ASAP before she's an adult. She's on temporary on paper towels until she's healthy. 3 hides, 1 cool, 1 humid, and 1 hot. She's made the cool hide into a poop place. So they obviously do like latrines. They
Toilet
do.
training.
Yeah, they have a shallow water dish which drips safe water. She has a water bottle cap with calcium without D3 in her home. That's cool. I do that at work. Oh, I don't have a work anymore. What am I talking about?
Hashtag YouTuber.
Hashtag YouTuber. Wonder if I should have a multivitamin as well. No, I would only do the multivitamin when you actually feed them like insects on the insects. The ad libitum side, just the calcium is what I would say. I think I'll buy some fake plants and clutter the left side more. I have some Dimbledome with 100-watt Acadia halogens, a 7% shade dweller. This is all made cheaply. I know it isn't pretty, but it's better than the vertical no UV enclosure that she came in. She basks daily. I think she really enjoying this. I'd love to hear any advice on how to improve. Thank you so much for this. Right. Okay. Oh, it's sideways. How do I turn this around?
You probably don't.
Can I turn this? Right. We're going to look at it sideways, guys. So everyone crank your necks. Yeah, I mean, I think that does the job for quarantine. I mean, you can't get... I'm going the wrong way, am I? No, I'm going the right way. Right, so
our cameras are obviously flipped in different directions. So that's
yeah.
why we both look in different places.
So you can see the background. You can see the back. There's opportunities to get behind things that can't be seen. There's not much to be said for quarantine. You know it's temporary, so
yeah. I mean, as the quarantine goes, it's pretty bog standard.
It can climb, it can hide, it can you could order like a little dig box of moss or something for it to just to root around in during quarantine. But other than that, I'd say you're pretty sorted for now.
For quarantine, yeah, because they asked if there's any improvements. But for quarantine, it's fine. But obviously, we're just talking quarantine, so there's no point in saying, "Oh, you could do this and could do this for a proper enclosure," because it's not apples and oranges.
I'm not going to rate this enclosure for that reason. I think
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. You win. Go to Paul's Monitor's house for your prize.
You're not coming to my house. I have precious things here.
That's a leopard gecko. We've done that one. Okay, cool. So this is Hi Liam. This is a 4x2x2 bioactive enclosure for our corn snake Cheeto. He's got UVB, a 50-watt bulb, heat bulb, LED over the basking spot, basks nearly every day. There's live plants, soil-based substrate. He burrows in, tunnels through, branches, ledges to climb on, and lots of hiding places, including a buried hide that he likes to use. He uses all the space, and someday I want to give him a 6 or 8 foot. Your videos have been a huge inspiration. Got me started with advancing my kit. I love your advocacy work. I'll just love reading out because it annoys.
I'm just joking. I couldn't care. It's just funny to keep the joke up.
I mean, that's cool. That's a cool enclosure. I see what you mean about wanting to be longer. I mean, that could always be longer. I mean, the grass growth is really cool. Again, you can't see the back. So the entire thermal gradient is available with security. I like that a lot. Climbing opportunities, that net at the top is really cool. Every element of it is... Are you all right, Paul?
No, I need to blow my nose, but I also think it's going to make a lot of noise.
I can mute you if you want.
Mute my mic while I blow my nose, and I'll put my phone...
Okay, you're muted. Right, I think... So, yeah, I think it's a great enclosure. The fact that it can burrow and access human microclimates would be amazing. I think that the area of the ledges up there, up near the heat and the UV, offers like a staggered effect of like light and dappling down. Wave at me when you're ready to come back and be unmuted. Okay, cool. Right. Pause back, everyone.
Hello, sorry, thank you.
I think it's a great enclosure. I think that's really, really smart.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I agree that it could be longer. So... Yeah, I actually really, really like it. So I'm going to give it a 9. If it was longer, that'd be up there for me.
Yeah, I would probably say an 8.5 or a 9. So I'll stick with my 8.5. I think that's a really good enclosure.
Yeah,
I think
like it.
8.5 is hard. I'll go 9.
I might go a
8.5 is harsh.
slightly bigger water bowl so the animal can fully get in there if it wanted to.
Yeah.
And maybe one more vertical, horizontal branch from back left down to the front. But again, I'm nitpicking. So
I think it's a really good enclosure. But let me
Yeah.
see if there's other images there are. Oh, look at the ficus growing up. That's really cool.
yeah, it's a smart enclosure.
And fan blowing in for ventilation as well. That's really cool.
And UVB
And
And-
UV
LEDs.
and LEDs.
Win-win. Yeah, I'll give it a 9. That's a smart enclosure.
Do you know what's mad?
Hmm.
Is that we've nearly got like 40 even after like 2 hours. Still like 37 people here on my screen. That's crazy to me.
37, yeah.
Crazy. Right, moving on, guys. Thanks everyone for sticking around. I'm glad we're not boring you. First ever
Meditate.
live stream. I'm feeling quite good about it.
They're here to this is the problem though, you've set the bar high now. So when you do the next one and 5 people turn up, you're gonna go,
I'm like, why?
I'm not going on this anymore, guys.
Yeah, I don't like this anymore, guys. That's it. Only
I'm
5
gonna-
people. We're
I'm
done.
gonna go work in pet shops again.
Oh, I'm never doing it again, man.
We can save that for my podcast.
Yeah, if you want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. I don't care. I don't give a I don't give a shit. Right. Ours is Victoria Teague. Victoria Teague was on the podcast last week. She's a wonderful keeper, wonderful human being. Has got a lot of patience for people who want help from her. So if you want to talk to her, go message her at Passionate Snakes. But enough of the praise for Victoria. Let's get into her first enclosure. So this is for, I don't really say what enclosure, for what species, but
I really like it.
I got a feeling this is either her Japanese rat snake or her mandarin.
I really like it.
It's a really nice enclosure.
Yeah, that's really smart. Yeah, I really like that.
Again, you can get to the back without being. Is that like a wall at the top right? There's like a wall going around. Is the halogen behind that wall, so it makes a little like halogen area? It looks it.
I don't think I think it's just reflecting off. I see what you mean. I think it's just reflecting off. I think it is in front, but it's reflecting off the back.
Oh, okay. But yeah, fantastic enclosure. All those nooks and crannies that acts as different UVIs at each little ledge you can be in. Yeah, I think this. What species is it? Oh.
Hello. I've seen that on Facebook, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean that's a 10 out of 10.
Is it a 10 out of 10? Let me see.
Could be longer, but yeah, that is a 10 out of 10.
What is this? Is this a boa?
It's a boa.
It's a boa. Oh, it's a good enclosure, isn't it? It's a good enclosure. 9.5.
Knowing how big this is, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of her stood next to it, but she's not even as tall as the enclosure is.
9.5.
Fair.
I'm gonna hold a 10 for like the most. Don't get me wrong, this is an incredible enclosure. Like it's an incredible enclosure. I can't see anything. The only thing I would potentially do is give a bigger water bowl, so the snake can fully get in it.
I agree with that actually.
So 9.5.
See, now I want to change mine to 9.5. You've convinced me.
No, you've said 10. It's too late.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't
a 10.
backtrack on results.
It's 10, right? Next enclosure, right?
You jumped in too soon. You were too.
I
eager.
did, didn't I? I've botched it. Right, this is an Aki. No context given, just images. So, Paul, I would say that you are up.
Let's go. Let's do it. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. You said it now. No backing out. It's oddly sensual.
Okay. If you gave me no context, I would have thought there was a tree monitor in there.
I'll skip to the next image.
Oh, wow, it's only a little one. I feel like I've seen this. I feel like this might have been a person that's sent this to me before.
So this is Daniel Curran.
Yeah, okay, this guy sent it to me before. Yeah. I'll pretty much say this similar to what I've said to him. Like the usable space is great, but it's just almost set up for a different species. Excuse me. I would go a bit deeper soil. I would focus more on a higher UVI lower. So maybe by adding like a UVB at the front, as well as obviously on your basking spot. I don't know if there's LEDs. It looks fairly bright, so I'm pretty sure there probably is LEDs in there. I forget. I have so many people message me, but I have spoken to him about this enclosure before. I think we spoke about doing cork tiles or something similar on the background, so the walls are fully climbable. I imagine, could be wrong, but I imagine the humidity would be quite high in there as well.
This almost suits the other species that you've got. What's the ones that you were telling me to get? The climbing ones.
I don't know. Don't say T-Mols because I wasn't telling you to get T-Mols.
The tiny ones.
Oh, Gillani.
Gillani.
Yeah. It'd be a good Gillani enclosure. Is that? Yeah, he's got soil on the bottom. Like he has messaged me before, and I'm pretty sure he's taken on some tips from me. But it's set up. The crocs were honestly to die for. But it's set up more for like a tree monitor or T-Mol monitor. Something, even for a Gillani, it's just a bit. It's a bit. How do I word it? It's a bit twiggy. Not Akis are more bulky. You know, they're not going to be running across twigs. They're going to be going across the cork tubes, and they're going to go in rock cracks. And you can do the same thing with cork tubes, but like doing cork tubes on the back of the wall, cork tube, then you're creating these shelves of cork tubes. They can get in, on, up, climb vertically, climb across, climb down, almost like a reach stack of cork. Whereas you're not giving them the option to really exhibit natural behaviors. Because you sort of set them up like you've just plopped them into the rainforest. At least that's what it looks like.
I would probably echo that. It doesn't look very.
Don't get me wrong, it'll work, but I think we're looking at it going, it's tropical. It looks tropical, and we're thinking Akis are sub-arid. So, for functional use for an Aki, I'm going to give it.
Ignore what it looks like. Just go function alone.
For an Aki, I'm going to give it a 6.5. For a monitor like a Gillani or a T-Mol or a baby tree monitor, I'd give it an 8.5. And that's just purely because the usable space that you've created don't really fit the needs of an Aki monitor. So it's almost set up for the wrong species.
Fair enough. I'm not going to rate it. I'm just going to leave it with Paul for that one.
You have to rate it. What are you rating it? You can't just not. You've got to rate it.
7. That's what I'd probably say. I don't know what the humidity is. The humidity could be quite dry, and it's just a humid microclimate in the soil that's making that plant survive. But I don't know. I'd probably say 7.
Yeah, it's a nice enclosure, but an Aki wouldn't be able to utilize it properly, so it's almost wasted.
Right. Thank you very much for submitting that. We'll move on to the next one. This is from Yashvir. Oh, okay. So this is an adult corn snake. It's 5x2x2, foam background. It's Arcadia DP projector with a 7% UVB, a Arcadia jungle dawn for the lights, for the plants, bioactive springtails, isopods, darkling beetles and earthworms.
Darkling
beetles,
cool.
5 foot, that is.
That's smart.
I would go halogen, not DP projector.
100%, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Outside of that, maybe a branch or two in the foreground, but outside of that, it's a nice enclosure.
I love the rope and how it moves.
Yeah, it's a great size.
I think it's pretty spot on. You can't see the back, so obviously that entire bit is like obviously security. Halogen, I would have to say the UVB is a bit far away from the heat. I would almost bring it forward and across in front of the halogen, just so it's closer. In my opinion, or even behind it, just so it's closer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I try and put my halogen roughly in the middle of my UV. So
yeah.
But outside of that, change to halogen, move the UV, add a couple of branches in the foreground just to break up that usable space. Well, I'll give it an 8. It's a good enclosure. It's nice. It's nice complexity to it.
Let's look at the other pictures before I rate it. Oh, that's nice. That I can go all the way through that, and behind it, and underneath it, and above it.
It's a great size for a corn snake. It's a
Absolutely.
great size for a corn snake. Like if you were doing like tiers, size, 10 out of 10. You know what I mean?
8.5 is what I'm saying.
Overall, I'm saying 8.
8.5 is what I'm saying. Good enclosure. Go team! Right, where are we up to now? James. Oh, this is a Savannah monitor. Hey, Liam and Ellie of Reptiles and Research. First, I love your podcast. Here are some photos of Momo's enclosure. My 11-year-old Bosque monitor. 11-year-old.
Momo at 11 is good. I like Momo. I'm adding a point for the name Momo. I like Momo.
8 feet wide, 5 foot height, and 4.5 length.
Nice.
2 weeks after I start the wet season after a good soak. Oh. Right, let me share this. Oh, I like this. Look at that. The grass is leaning on.
What pictures have we got? I think he's here because he's just at the 8 foot length, sorry.
Big enclosure.
So 8 foot long, 5 foot tall, 4.5 foot. Oh, he's a good size Savannah as well. Skinny.
Lean, isn't he?
Nice.
That's
nice.
I'm jealous. I want it.
All right.
I love
I don't know if you know, James, but I am a fellow Savannah keeper. And what? Go back to the first picture? Oh, that was just of the Savannah, wasn't it?
This is the only enclosure pic.
Okay.
You can see he's got like a is that infrared bar thing at the top?
That's an LED flood, I think.
Is it?
I think it's an LED flood top right. Then he's got 3 UVBs on the left by the looks of it.
James, tell us, is that in the foreground? Is that LED or is that heat? Is that infrared?
Because there's no red or orange lighting in the picture. It's just white. So I'd say it's a floodlight.
Yeah, I would imagine that you're right. It looks like there's like a basking spot on the left out of sight because it seems to go orange over there.
The strip lights are grows. The basket lights are 75 watt metal halide with a supplementary halogen, and it's LED. Yes, it's an LED.
Okay, yeah, it's an amazing enclosure. How deep is the substrate?
It's got more lighting than my Viv, to be fair, than my Savannah Viv. It actually does. I don't like Bumpy. You're right.
Yeah, well, Bumpy is a cool lizard.
I should have stood further back. It's a great enclosure.
Oh well, we get the idea though. It's a great enclosure. Did you make that yourself? I assume so.
Yeah, I said so.
Looks like it. Yeah, great enclosure. What we rating it?
It's hard to see everything, but I like that you've got a halide, and then a halogen as well. I like the big branch. I like the fallen branch, but I'd probably add a couple more cork tubes to the back. So there's usable area. Because obviously with a boss, they're big clunky animals. What do you say that? They're not, but they are. So by screwing cork tubes to the back, you're going to add levels of depth as well as they can get in and out of it. UVI is 5.3. Nice UVI. Yeah, no, definitely. This is, as regards to Savannah monitor enclosures, this is like 10 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a 9.5 just purely because I'm holding out the 10. But this is one of the best Savannah monitor enclosures I've seen. But like I say, I would screw some stuff to the back to make it substrates 2 foot deep. Yeah, man, you've gone into. But yeah, that's all I would do from what I can see is I would just add stuff on the back to enable them to just have that little bit more usable and climbable space. But other than that, it's pretty much spot on.
I'm going to say a 9.
Why?
0.5 because you can't see the entire enclosure, and then 0.5 because obviously you don't get a wow factor. It doesn't blow your mind because you don't see like a little window. But I can imagine it is an amazing enclosure if you're in the room with it.
What I what my brain does when I see this and the level of detail is obviously being a monitor keeper. I assume Bosk monitor. I assume empty 4x2x2 with bloody Repti chip. So when you see something like this for a $40 or pound animal, you really have to give props. Especially
I'm 100% has to be commended.
Yeah, no. So for me, in the sense of what it means for the species to have an enclosure like this, it's like I say, it's a 10 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a 9.5 purely because if that back was completely filled up with cork tubes, I'd have given it a 10.
I would say you're doing wonders for representing proper care for the species.
It does a better job than me, so you know what I mean.
If I upgrade my leopard gecko anymore, I think maybe I'll go for something over an 8x4 because of the ground space. 8x8 foot maybe. Then consider cohabitation with that size. Jesus, that's amazing though. Because why don't we give small animals that much space?
I've spoken on this in my podcast, man.
Yeah, I watched it.
If you do an 8x8 for a leopard gecko, then please, like, post it everywhere. Like,
People go
damn.
mad.
But no, they're first, like I say, for a savannah, like, be interested. Imagine if a mangrove comes up. The mangrove man reviewing mangrove enclosures.
I don't
know,
know
for a savannah, it's spot on. I like the grass. The substrate's deep enough for them to climb into. The savannah's in great shape. I keep calling them savannahs now because I talk to too many Americans.
I did that with ball pythons, royal pythons.
But yeah, like I say, get some cork tubes, screw them to the back. I guarantee you they'll climb on it and use it. But for the most part, that's sick. Fair play. 9.6 is the best one so far for me. Can't change. I'm sorry. I've my own rules. 9.5, but it's a great enclosure, man.
100%. So many of these enclosures are a wonderful blend of function and form. Makes me feel lacking with mine. If/when it is reviewed here, I definitely went for function first. Yeah. But we'll hopefully get to yours. It's in the downloads anyway. If not, it'll roll over into another one that you will definitely get reviewed at some point or another. Don't worry about it. Right, next one. Yeah, a leopard gecko in that big enclosure. You know that one of the first things you'll get is people saying this is unnecessary because people are twats. Right, hello. I'm the one that commented on your video asking about the series. This is my first vivarium build for my snake. It's a 7-month-old corn snake. Below the pics, drainage layer, mesh barrier between separating the drainage barrier from the substrate. 2 to 3 inches of substrate front towards the back is 5 to 6 inches. Looking for constructive criticism so I can apply it in a forever home. Thank you. I mean, yeah, that's cool. It looks like there's like a light up top. I don't know what that is. Wasn't mentioned. Let me skip to some new images.
I like the background.
The background's really cool. Also, that's a big LED.
Yeah,
if you haven't got UV, I would say my major recommendation would be UV and then like a low watt halogen in the corner.
What species is this again? Sorry,
corn.
Yeah, I agree. UVB definitely and a halogen for sure. If you don't have it already,
but for the most part, yeah, great enclosure, climbing opportunities. Maybe lay one log across that middle. It looks like there's a bit of a ledge, like a U bend, where the cocoa earth is on the left. Sorry, I'm indigestion. Just behind that branch, just in front of that plant, lay the end of a log there across the back, and then link it up with that back right white log at the back right. It's one big horizontal thing. But yeah, it looks really good. What would you?
You can go first.
I will probably say a 8 because it's a small animal, so this is not its permanent enclosure. I'd probably say an 8.
I was thinking 7.5.
Fair.
And no UVB for me. If there's UVB, I'll take it to an 8.5, but no UVB for me brings it down.
Lovely jubbly. I know I have your email, so if I can, I'm working down a list, so we will get to it. Lovely jubbly. Oh, this is some spam. Right, so I've sent this before. I've made some changes. I've added height, more complexity in the plants, now doing great. The AFT is called Punga and is doing great as well. What's an AF? P.S. I've been loving the podcasts. Keep up the good
African
work.
fat tail.
Woo! Oh, African fat tail. Fair enough.
Maybe.
I'd assume so. I mean, that log pile, that reach stack style was amazing. Perfect.
Yeah, UVB, LED, halogen, incandescent, so it's softer glow for a softer skin gecko. Cool.
I think it's great. I think that log pile offers so many thermoregulatory opportunities, like a reach stack style, like you said before.
Yeah.
That's a great enclosure for the animal.
So the only thing I would probably, again, nitpicky change is maybe make some shelf ledges out of cork on the sides and the back, just to utilize the space of the sides. But otherwise, it's an 8.5. It's a solid enclosure. 9.
I'd say 9.
Yeah,
For the species context, I would say 9. Yeah, I think it's a really good enclosure.
yeah, no, it's a good enclosure for sure. I'll just make use of the sides. That's all I would do. You've got unskippable ads on your live stream.
I don't know.
Literally.
I've got a chaperone because I don't know how to live stream. You can't complain to me
I didn't
about
tell
what's
you to
happening.
put ads in midway through.
I don't know. It just says, "Do you want to monetize?" And I thought it was like the adverts after it converts to video. Leave me alone. I'm trying. Right.
I click yes on mine and it doesn't give me ads. So I wonder why yours does.
Does that mean that like you miss parts of the episode?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. Whoopsies. Right, next one. Moving on.
You gotta make bank from this video.
Who do we just do?
The African fat tail. I forgot the name, but we did the African fat tail. You should have left them all unread, and then as you were clicking on them.
Well, I had to reply to them to send them emails saying come to.
But then you highlight and then click mark as unread.
Yeah. This one. Oh, okay. So my name is Callum, and I built this. This cage is 4 foot tall, 4 foot wide, and 2 foot deep. Full custom background, over 600 pounds of electrics, excluding the reptile, and 80-watt radiator and guard times 250-watt floods and spotlights, infrared. One on each side, set to a different temperature so the snake can choose between different sides away from the UV. 59-watt jungle dawn. He put jingle dawn. Jungle dawn for plants. 6%. I'm a child. 6% T5 jungle UVB. 3 thermostats. I have plug-in fans, both from the bottom, circulating fresh air. How I built it was 100% animal safe silicone to seal the edges. And then I siliconed the cork tile either side and left to dry. Expanding fine background, carved and smoothed with sanded smooth. Concrete, then installed the roof and the enclosure and cable clipped the wires together. Then I put in the substrate over 130 litres in total, which include potted soil, topsoil, rotting wood, leaf litter, sand, sphagnum moss.
Enclosure.
This is a retic.
Because I've just put 250 litres in my enclosure, my mangrove enclosure. Because I brought 150 and it wasn't enough. Oh, okay. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be long.
So this is for an emerald tree boa, I think. Actually, I lied.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, for some
Fans.
reason in my head, I was expecting it to be long.
Fans.
Better cable management than me.
Oh, look at that. There's 2 in
Yeah.
there.
Nice.
So that's all the images we have. So there is like that or an incomplete version, which is that. So you can kind of see what he was going for there, but it's not a complete version.
There's a lot of complexity in the sense of basking opportunities. Go to the one with the snakes on, please, just so we can try and get an idea of just background stuff. So it's added some greenery, some foliage, some ficus.
Yeah, I think it's good enclosure. We can't say more without seeing the whole thing.
No,
but,
yeah. I by the sounds of it, you've definitely put a lot of thought into it. I'm sure it looks bright there, like the animals look bright there, so I'm sure it's well illuminated. And then you've given the different opportunities to bask, so it's definitely well thought out for sure. And then a lot of substrate, and then if the substrate's heated, coming from the monitor world, the substrate's heated, it will leach humidity up into the enclosure, so will just overall be a great little habitat.
I think, yeah, you've pretty much summed it up. I don't think we should give a rating based on not seeing the entire thing, but
Yeah, it's hard to
it
rate.
looks really good. Everyone's talking about the ads. Like, I'll sort it for the next live stream. All right, I'll have to actually.
Everyone, Paul's Monitors doesn't do this. All right.
Wow.
I'm not a sellout.
Wow.
I'll be completely honest. I click monetize for mine, and I don't know why it doesn't do it, because I do it for mine. So I'm only just joking, because I do click monetize at the start of mine, and it doesn't give me mid rolls. But
Hey, the other side of the coin, if you want to see big projects like deep dives and things like that, then allow Reptiles and Research to get the funding for it.
like and
Right,
subscribe.
moving on. Like and subscribe. Yeah. Right.
We've gone down to 17 people. The people aren't here for the ads.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll have to address that next time. But yeah, moving on. Right. So moving on. This is Retic enclosure, 4 foot wide, 2 foot deep, 4 foot high. Radiant heat panel, UVB, and some LED hidden along the front wall. Ropes are synthetic and won't rot or absorb moisture. Hides on each level, and I swap out objects like boxes and hammocks positions for enrichment. Although she's never in the hide unless she's shedding. Pool covers almost half the bottom of the pool. Jesus Christ. Make sure she either eats on the rock or hang from the ropes. There's no risk of swallowing some substrate. I mean, I wouldn't worry about swallowing substrate anyway, to be fair. All right, let me share this. I mean, that's cool. Top down. That's the nest for Cam. That's cool. Okay.
So
Say it.
I would get a couple of halogens, enough to cover the entirety of the snake coiled up. I would get rid of the coil because they are incredibly unreliable. Sometimes they give you great UVI, sometimes they give you terrible. I would replace it for an Arcadia, or other brands are available. UVB, the T5, and it looks like your LEDs going around the outside are 3000 Kelvin, which is warm white. I would add a 6500 Kelvin, which is daylight. Yeah, that's mainly what I would change. The complexity of the enclosure. The sinks seem quite small. I mean, there's one picture where it looked quite big, and then there's another one on its hand. It looked quite small.
Let me cycle back through. Don't see the snake in that enclosure.
There.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. There's a big enclosure for the animal. Let's not get that wrong. There's a little face there at the bottom left.
But yeah, I would change the electrics completely.
I would recommend a complete overhaul of the lighting, to be honest.
Yeah. I like the
have
shelving.
It all on that. Yeah, have it all on that top right shelf, the basking spot. I love the climbing.
I would add a couple of vertical branches as well, because you've got a tall
100%.
enclosure. And if you've seen the video, that obviously you've seen it, but people seen the video of the retic that does like just goes up this palm tree. So I would add a few vertical, completely like almost tree looking effects.
Is that concertina locomotion? Is that what's called? Where it's like, oh shit, where it's like concertina.
They coil up a tree, mate. Science, simple.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I would add vertical branches. I would completely redo the electrics.
Agreed. I would get one of those pothos like pole things. You ever seen those?
Yeah.
Plonk that in there. Give it a bit of green.
I've got a few of them in the tree monitor enclosure.
Yeah, I'd pop that in there. I'd also maybe a horizontal branch across the middle. It's just very, very exposed looking. So I think like you could clutter it up a lot more.
What are you giving it out of 10?
5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Purely the lighting for me. I would change the lighting around, and then functionality. It serves purpose, but I would change the lighting.
It's certainly a minimalistic style, and there's nothing wrong with that because the functionality of the welfare elements of like expressing behavior such as swimming and climbing and stuff is all there.
Yeah,
The heliothermy is not there, or the UV is not there. I will just make it look a bit more cluttered as well for that security element. But yeah, thank you very much for submitting. Next, Van. Rob Hutch. Hey Liam, thanks for running such an informative channel and keep up to date with the most recent science and evidence. This is my submission for the next round of viewer enclosure reviews. It's a ball python, it's 7 and it's 4 foot. The enclosure is a 6 foot by 2 foot by 3 foot high. Basking platform, 2 foot ground hides, several elevated hides. Preferred hide is horizontal elevated cork ground in the middle of the enclosure. Misting system lightly sprays the plant 3 times a day. Lighting, 2 halogens for the heat. T5 Reptisun Jungle Dawn LED is getting rats, African softwares, chicks, quail, fed every 4 to 6 weeks unless shedding. It's got a money tree, lots of pothos, a couple of different species of snake plant. They adopted him from the Toronto Zoo. No, a local reptile zoo in Toronto, I should say. He was overweight and showed signs of retained eye caps and dehydration from his previous life before they'd been surrendered to the zoo. His eyes are cleared and he's doing well without any extra help. We set him up in a bioactive 4 foot by 1.5 by 2 foot to start and got him in a varied diet. We also spaced out his feeding to 4 weeks from his previous schedule of being fed every 2 weeks. Took him time, but he lost the extra weight, looking much healthier. About 8 months later, he moved to his current enclosure, and after we lost our larger rat snake to cancer. Oh, sorry to hear that. Our friend of mine actually preserved snake skulls and skin for me and recorded what he found. If you want to view for educational purposes, I can hunt down the Instagram link for you. It would be very YouTube friendly. To be fair, I shared a wound from a crocodile bite on this channel, so yeah, just send it.
I tried to click that short today. It wouldn't let me watch it.
Yeah, it got some views and stops, and I was like, "What's going wrong?" And it was like age restricted, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me watch it.
I thought that was my big ticket. That was to like 70 million views because that's a clickable thing, but you know,
not anymore.
Not anymore. Right. Here's the ball python in its enclosure. Lovely. That's a nice enclosure. 6 foot long, 4 foot high. 3 foot high, sorry. 2 foot deep. Let's move along. I mean, yeah, it's a great enclosure. So there's plenty of climbing structures you can get across the back. I would probably offer a log right at the back. Are you breathing into the mic?
No, I'm breathing.
Is it me or I can hear?
It's probably me because I'm breathing and right by my mic.
I can't tell if it's me or you. Someone tell us who's breathing like Darth Vader. I think it might be me
because I was like right on my mic like this.
Oh, it might have been you then. Paul's just getting excited by the promise of LEDs.
I would add more. I'll be honest. I think the right-hand side is very dark.
But at the same time, in nature, they would find like dark patches underneath the bushes.
Oh, of course. But you can create those up high, bright, down low, dark. You can create that by adding branches, cork tubes, horizontally, vertically, like more plants. I think the enclosure size is incredible. I think it's bigger than most of my. Wow, you've got a super chat.
Have I? Where's that?
And my phone is obviously quicker than your.
I think so.
There you go.
Woo! Woo! Well done, your first live.
Be prepared for YouTube to take all of it.
YouTube to take all of it. What is it that YouTube does? Takes like.
So 45%. YouTube takes up to 45%, and Michael's not on iPhone, so Apple takes straight 30%, and YouTube take up to 45% of all super chats.
So you lose it like 80, you lose everything basically.
Yeah, your best case you've lost 60% if someone, because it's basically YouTube take between 30 and 45%. So let's say YouTube just takes 30%, so you've lost 60p of that. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not awful. I'm grateful for whatever.
You'd have lost £1.20.
The fact that Apple takes anything at all is just ridiculous. But
probably
thank you very much, Michael, anyway.
But yeah, I think the enclosure size is incredible. I like the plants. I like the cork tube screwed to the back is what I've been talking about. So it gives the animal a chance to go on top of it, inside of it. I like that it's got a hole in it. But like I say, I would make it a little bit brighter. But outside of that, I think it's good. I'd give it an 8.
Because it's not 3 by 2 by 2, it's 6 foot long by 2 foot deep by 3 foot high. Yeah. I actually disagree with you. I like the fact that it's half and half light and dark. I like the fact that if like a royal was like, oh, I want to climb and stuff, but I want to be in the dark, then it's got the choice of that. I think like if they went up straight through the middle of like a really dense bush, then it would be sort of like dark as well. So I actually like the half and half element of that. I think I would probably give that.
I think this is guys now. Is this Rob? Hey, reviewing my ball python enclosure. Cheers for the review.
Yeah, no problem. I would probably say this is 8.75 because I couldn't decide between an 8.5 or a 9. So 8.75 is incredible enclosure though.
I like the skulls as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Thank you very much. Is there any more images before I leave? Oh, we went through them all, didn't we? Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for submitting. Right, next one. Nathan. So this is a Eurodactylodes agricoloa. I don't know what that is. Let me Google real quick, guys. Let me tell you what it is.
Isn't that a type of gecko?
The Boyer's chameleon gecko.
Yeah.
Or boas. I don't know how you say it. So it's 12 by 12 by 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterra. We'll go larger at some point. Bioactive, pothos, spiderwort, creeping fig, dead honeysuckle branch, fake vines, oak leaf litter, UVA, UVB, heat bulb, leap misting system, and food and water dish. Can you spot the gecko? Okay, let's see.
Oh, spot the gecko.
Let me zoom in for you guys.
I'm going to zoom in on my own laptop.
I found it.
How big is it on your screen?
Pretty much the same as the stream, to be fair.
No, I haven't found it.
Do you want me to point it out? Or does anyone in the chat?
Oh, I've got it.
Can anyone in the chat find it?
I've got it. I was looking in the complete wrong place. It's Bauer's chameleon gecko.
I'm going to point it out unless someone wants to point it out. So it is right beneath the heat sources at the top, along the middle horizontal branch, just beneath the tip of the pothos leaf at the top. And it is like a camo green, muddy green, swamp green color, vertical along the stick. I mean, yeah, it's a cool enclosure.
It's a very cool enclosure.
I don't know anything about them, so I can't really be much help.
I know a little bit, not loads. What size was the enclosure again? 18, 18, 24?
I have to come out of this. 1 second. It is a 12 by 12 by 18.
Okay, I would just like it in a little bit. They're not a big gecko at all. They're a small gecko, but I would go a little bit bigger. But I'm also quite big on space. But for the most part, I think it's great. Maybe some stick, like twig stick branches on the right-hand side there. But for the most part, I think it's good.
I think it's a good enclosure.
Yeah, give it a 9.
I'd probably say 8.5. I think it could be bigger if it's going to be like a 9, personally. But
oh yeah, I mean, if it was bigger and the exact same style but bigger, it'd probably still be a 9. To be fair, so yeah, fair comment.
Can't see any gecko on my phone. Right, let me just obscenely zoom in for you. Oh no, it's just making it. I can't. It's just making it smaller, ironically. So yeah, we're gonna move on from that one. Right. I actually really enjoy live streaming. I think that's the end. So what we're going to do is, yeah, we're going to cycle back now for the ones that have been submitted.
I thought you said there was loads.
I mean, that's 2 hours, man. I normally go for like 15, 20 minutes. Right, so this is from Damien McKay. This setup is for my 25-year-old Darwin carpet python that I got in 1998.
I think
That's a year after I was born.
1998, wowzers.
A pond and waterfall built in hide, live plants, and plenty of room to climb and explore. Heat and lights are followed by deep heat are as follows: a deep heat projector, halogen, shade dweller UV, jungle dawn, and a programmed strip light for display. Ooh.
I think we have Mike's as well at some point. He said he submitted, and we haven't seen it yet.
I'll refresh it in a minute. That's a nice snake. Oh, that's massive. Oh, there's a problem there, but
one question.
Yeah.
Is that a red bulb?
Is yes, it is. It looks it, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just like maybe it's just a really hot deep heat projector.
It could be actually.
Yeah,
it could just be some hot filament. I mean, the background. I'm super zoomed in right now. The background is incredible.
Let me try and zoom in more for everyone. Better. There you go.
That python is max 2 years younger than I am. Yeah, the background is incredible. I would like more branches. And a halogen. And maybe a little bit brighter, but I think it could just be the way the picture's been taken, to be fair.
It could be. You can't really tell, can you?
But a few more branches, horizontal and vertical.
I almost am more of a fan of having like a dedicated basking spot with like really intense sun and one little patch on the top left shelf or something, rather than be a bit more higgledy-piggledy all over the place.
Yeah, I think the background's incredible. I like the size. It looks really big.
It is incredible.
But like I say, just a couple more branches for me personally, just because like at the front and the sides, there's so much usable area that's just not being used. So I would add a lot of branches. I'm going to give it an 8 just because I feel like you could do so much more with it. I think it's great, but I think that has potential to be like an incredible enclosure. So I'm going to give it an 8.
I'm going to give it an 8.5 just because I'm nicer than Paul.
No, it's not the game.
No, I was going to go 8.5 anyway. I think it would be a 9 if it had like a really nice like dedicated basking spot, like I said before. But that could be a 10 if it was
harsh. I'm being harsh because it looks incredible, and I think the usable space in the open, like let's make no mistake, that is nicer than 99.9% of enclosures that I have. But because it is so nice, that I'm in love with the background because it's so nice, I think it's wasted that there's not more usable area. So I'm going to stick with my guns on 8.
Did he say it was screen top or not? I can't remember. But if it's screen top, you could just plonk a Thermal Z Pro at like the top left and be done with it on that back left shelf. That would be really cool. Right. Thank you very much for submitting.
It's a sick background. The background was smart.
Yeah, it's amazing. Right. Let's cycle back for everyone. This is a bit meta. Thanks, Liam. I've been watching from the start. I've been enjoying. It's been enjoyable and inspirational. Though I'd like to include more info in case I have to go to bed. I start work at 7 a.m. This corn enclosure is 4x2x2. The substrate is 2 inches thick. Which one was this? Was it the early one we did? I'll read it out anyway. This is 2-inch thick forest bark, orchid bark, changed to aspen, leaf litter. Hides are provided by cork logs and flats. Natural stones being used to create the basking spot, plus a natural cave. Sky hide attached to a wooden log at the top of the viv. There's lots of climbing opportunities and raised ledges at the cool end. He does use every inch enclosure, which had gone bigger when I upgraded him. Hognose, new addition, 2 months ago. He came in small, viv exotic reptile home with a statted heat mat, no lights at all. Moved him into medium reptile home with heat from a statted 20-watt halogen. It's just over 14 inches, so there's plenty of space at the moment. Hiding opportunities are provided by a selection of cork and slate rock formations. He also burrows in thickish layers of aspen. Both tanks have Arcadia shade dweller, white python LEDs and halogens. They're staggered to do sunrise, sunset. There's no images. Oh yeah, have we done this one? No, we haven't done this one. Okay, cool.
There was one that's in your downloads as well.
Oh yeah, good point. I'll have to do that. This one, I think. I mean, for a hoggy, it's all right. I mean, the walls could be used so much more. I'd say.
What was the corn? Or am I wrong?
Which one's the corn? That's a good point. I'm assuming the
that's
corn,
the corn, yeah, that's
white
the
one,
corn.
bottom left.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's the hoggy. I think that more climbing structures, hoggies will climb. They just will. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. So climbing structures, you have a lot of usable wall there. I think you could use a humidhide if you haven't got one. Did I read humidhide? There was a lot to read there. My brain's forgotten what I said already.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you read out, to be fair.
Yeah, I would say humidhide if you haven't got one. Obviously, again, burrows. If you're using aspen, you need to like offset the dryness of aspen by providing a humidhide. I'd 100% recommend that. But for the most part, it's pretty good. Just climbing structures, a bit more densely packed. There's nothing wrong with aspen.
No, I like they use rocks in the basking spot as well.
Little cave almost.
Yeah, to allow the UVC at night as well. Infrared C. But yeah, I agree with you. The wall, I don't really like plain walls. I like to utilize the wall as much as you can. So, but yeah, I'd give it a 7.
It's not an 8. 7. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not a 6 though. So yeah, I'd say 7. I am going to move on to the corn. This is, I love all the climbing up the top left and all how dense that is. Halogen UV and stuff, and then a ceramic for, I assume, supplemental. You can't see the back. There's a rock underneath the basking spot, horizontal branches. That back wall could be used and utilized more. The rest of the enclosure, the floor, and that's great. Plenty of like logs and stuff like that. I'm going to give that an 8.
I think if you screwed a cork tube, a long cork tube on the back wall, or 2, I think that's a 9. But I would agree it's an 8.
You heard it here, folks.
Mike has sent his again.
Okay, I'm going to try and get through to that. Right, next one. Thank you very much for submitting. Right.
How often are you planning on doing this?
I don't know. We'll see what people actually want. I think weekly you might get a bit dead. Maybe fortnightly, maybe monthly. I don't know.
You're going to plan on doing lives more?
Oh yeah, I really enjoy the lives.
Hassle free.
I just enjoy the interaction. I think I just recorded so when I worked at Emsworth, I sold bearded dragons constantly. You repeat things so often, you get into like a routine. And I had this routine that I could just recite, and it's like really, really scientific and detailed. So I just said, why don't I just record this routine and do like a knowledge dump? So I've done that, and at the end of that, I said, I'll tell you what, we could just do like a dedicated bearded dragon question, like Q&A live stream, where you just do like as much knowledge as you have, but then interaction and personal questions and helping as much as possible. So I might do something like that.
Mangroves, to be fair, I wanted to do a mangrove.
I mean, it's a great idea.
One. Yeah, I was been meaning. I just haven't had time to do it, but yeah, I know what you mean.
See you, Carmen. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I'm shocked everyone stuck around this long. Right, let me get on to this next enclosure. There's no context, just images. So
I think that's Mike's, because he did say that he's just sent that.
Oh, okay, cool. So
it's for a jungle carpet python.
I'd say it needs a lot more arboreal height for a carpet python, unless it's tiny, 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 tiny.
I don't know how big it is, to be honest.
Let me move to the next image just in case it's in there.
It's changed today, though. He's changed the whole thing around today. Same enclosure, but changed it.
If it's that small to sit in a little nook and cranny in this enclosure. Oh, so it's at the back left where that little hole is. I mean, I would like to see a lot more climbing opportunities, especially for something that's truly semi-arboreal and climbs that much.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I said earlier when he sent me some pictures and images, I said just add some more branches, definitely. But yeah, I would like he said about he's had that in the original description. But yeah, I would like it to be taller, and I would like a few more branches. I can't see that's even LED or UVB at the front, but LED and UVB, there's definitely at least one of them. A halogen, so it's good. Decent substrate layer to aid humidity. But I think you were saying earlier his house is ridiculously humid, so he has to fight not being too humid for them.
That copper penny in the water bowl, I wouldn't do that. I think Laurie made a really good detailed video about how that's actually can be quite bad. And there's so many veterinary. She quoted a veterinary textbook that says do not do that. Bacteria and stuff in the water bowl that can be mitigated by just good cleaning and cleaning a water bowl every day. But I think I'd rather have just like a day's bit of like bacteria than a penny in my water bowl personally. I mean, you can get copper poisoning long term.
I didn't notice that, to be fair.
I would probably say this is a 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
Beautiful enclosure, very nice to look at, but it's the height for me.
I think I would want more branches, and if this enclosure was exactly the same but a foot taller and more branches, I really like the background, and the background is usable to the point where the snake can actually get on it.
So he's removed the penny since. Yeah, I agree with that. I am gonna make sure we get to Elsie's. She did it on the 6th of June, so that's one from ages ago. Okay, let me have a look for it. Thank you for this picture, Mike. All right, let me dig through the archives. 1 second.
6th of June.
Right, dig. 6th of June. Is your name on the email as well? Is it Elsie?
Can you search dates or emails?
Just to occupy everyone, so everyone's not bored. Guess who donated and bought everything on the deep dives the ball python deep dive list and just completely just wiped out our Amazon list?
Elsie Knits, Knits. So ELSEY.
Yeah, it's not here. I've gone back to 2021 now. It's not here.
Elsie, can you find the email and then just resend it quickly?
Yeah, just forward it again. Okay, the JPEGs have been resubmitted for the corn snake, so we'll look at these. Yeah, people in the chat, guess who bought out the entirety of our Amazon wish list for the ball python deep dive? You will not guess. No, well, I'd laugh at Dave Kaufman.
Wrong. Mike is not wrong.
Mike isn't wrong. Technically, he's right. You will not guess. Luke's joking about Dave, but I mean, it's just as ridiculous as that guess, to be fair. It's not far off.
You're on the right continent.
Go on, get your guesses in. I'm going to blow everyone's minds. It blew my mind. I was just sat there for a day like, what? No, not mutation creation, but you're on the right lines of it being like, I don't understand. Not Brian, no.
Closer, though.
The last person you'd ever guess.
Not
who have I pissed off the most?
Cold. Ty Park is cold. Brian is the warmest you've been so far.
Who have I annoyed the most? And they gave me $600. Go on, give us a guess. Someone's going to get there.
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast, no. Are we ready?
Dun dun dun.
Nerd. What? Don't understand. But yeah, there's a nugget of confusion for you. Spent the entire day just flabbergasted. Like, I don't understand. But yeah, don't know. I know, right? I know. I don't understand. I don't understand. And yet it's happened. $600. It might have been more of a case it was donated to Laurie rather than myself. I'm not sure if they know it's me that is the project, but guess we'll find out. I'm going to reach out and ask, but I'm going to do that after, everything's already in Laurie's hands. So no one can cancel a order after they realise. Right, let's look at these JPEGs for the corn snake. I know, right? It's amazing. I would never have guessed that in a million years. So this is the corn snake enclosure.
I like
$600 from Nerd. What the hell? So nice background. Oh, this is with the dinosaur ribs coming out for climbing.
Yeah.
Oh, so not that much of a.
Go back to the first one and look at
That's going to be the one we need to use.
that far left. The snake will be able to get its tongue into that fan, no?
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Because that's the fan mounted on the inside. So the computer fan's inside of that. So you've only got like not even half an inch, because obviously you've got the metal cage, the computer fan, then the cage, and it's fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no guard around it. So anything thin, like a tail tip or a tongue, will go straight into that fan, I'd have said. Because I've got those fans in my incubator.
Yeah, I didn't consider that. That's a very good point. Maybe that is a bit dodge. But
I mean,
the rest
I'm
of it-
sure it'd be fine. It'd be a freak accident if it did go in there. But that's the first thing that I saw. But yeah, the enclosure is incredible.
I think it's an incredible enclosure. The climbing structures, that looks like it's a little section of a little creek or something.
Yeah, no, that looks like a slice of the wild. That enclosure as a general is a 9. It's an incredible enclosure.
I think the plants around the enclosure makes it even better. They decorated the
sure.
area nicely. Is it a 9 for me? I don't think it's a 9 for me. It is it's difficult.
If
I'm
you
gonna say-
cage the fan, it's definitely a 9 for me. The fan would scare me a little bit, but I think that the complexity,
8.5.
the level.
8.5.
McLizard.
Yeah.
Hello, McLizard. He's just came back. So yeah, well, it's gone now. But I would say cover your fan, just to be safe.
Yeah, I would cover you. Let's look at some of these. I will have a look. We're going through it. Listen to your podcast today about the deep dive. Very excited. Apparently, so is Kevin McCurley. But we'll see what happens there. 100%. I am very impartial. It's only I've criticized things that I was truly felt need being criticized, but also you have to turn around and praise what needs to be praising as well. That's just how it should be. So we'll see what comes of that. I will keep everyone updated. We'll see what happens. Let's move on to the rest of it. So this is Gorillae per K cow. Right. So let me just share this. So this is a night cam thing, I'm assuming. Look at the gecko's eyes. It's funny. Oh wow, look at that.
That's like a bird's nest.
Oh, it's a grow tent.
Oh, this is the guy that had the massive leopard gecko.
Yeah, she's got a huge enclosure, I think. You can't even see the bag. That is sick. Let me zoom in for everyone.
Hang on, wait a second. This is for one leopard gecko.
Is this for one leopard gecko?
Oh, this is a 10. This is a 10.
This is I
This
agree.
is a
This is a 10.
Fair, absolute fair play. What size is it?
Go on, let us know again how big it is. How big is it?
It's got to be a 6x4x4 or a 6x6x4?
Not enough vertical height.
Not enough climbing space.
Yeah, not enough space.
Just
But
one leopard gecko.
Give us the dimensions.
6.5 by 5 by 5. Fuck.
You have just won the podcast, the live stream. Sorry.
Go back through the pictures again, please, mate.
Yeah.
Back through.
It's got a whole other like arid section of it and everything.
That's that bit. So that's the bit up on the left. So the race is up on the left. Needs more LEDs.
It needs more LEDs. This is an incredible enclosure.
What the actual hell? You need this person on the podcast.
Yeah.
My
let's do it.
podcast only talks about monitor lizards, so it's not really that enclosure. I'm just doing maths. Let me do maths.
The basket. Oh, shut up. Shut up. The basking zone alone is 4 by 2 foot.
Yeah, that's that bit on the left. So that picture back, so you see that bit on the left there with like the
That
netting.
bit.
Yeah, it takes
That's
you up to
just
that.
That's just the basking spots. That's 4 by 2 alone. What? Mad. That's the best enclosure I've ever seen.
So that enclosure is bigger than the enclosure I've just built for Mango. So don't get me wrong, there'll be more usable area in Mango's enclosure because obviously the leopard gecko is not going to use all of the area, whereas Mango will be able to use all of the area. But that enclosure has more space than the enclosure I've just built for my goddamn mangrove monitor. That's mad.
Clapping emojis from everyone. Let's go.
That is mad. This is how we should be keeping reptiles.
100%.
Can I ask you why? Like, I'm all for it, but like, why? What made you be like, the leopard gecko uses all of it? I'm glad we ended on this. I know we haven't ended, but like this feels fitting to do at the end. Like we've crescendoed and we've got here to like
that's incredible.
The pinnacle.
Incredible.
That's mad. That is mad. Fair play. Yeah, we thought James's Savannah monitor enclosure was good, and my monitors and your Savannah would love that little leopard gecko's enclosure. That's mad. 10. More LEDs, but 10.
More LEDs. That honestly, yeah, I'm a bit speechless.
I just don't understand, like, why? Like, obviously, fair play, but like, do you have other reptiles? Do they live like this, or is this leopard gecko just like sacred? That's mad.
I think it's time you come on the podcast.
I think you need this person on the podcast. There's a lot of ethics in there. That's why I think I can't go for an 8x4. The floor space would be less than 1. Mad.
But that is how it should be. You are a shining example of what reptile keeping should be.
Like, I've said this on my podcast. I've said, like, people, why do we not keep... I don't think I used leopard geckos as an example, but I was like, why don't we keep tiny reptiles in massive enclosures? Like, why did we all of a sudden go, yeah, 4x2x2 is fine? And I've also said, like, if I could have my time again, I wish I'd have brought a lot less reptiles and just had massive enclosures. So, do you have a YouTube channel? Is that your YouTube channel in the sense of, like, you have content, or is it just your YouTube, like, your YouTube?
Jumping around for videos.
That's mad.
It's quite. Do you know what? I think that's quite a moving enclosure.
Yeah. I have content. This is a good plug.
This is the biggest promotion, best way of promoting it you could ever do. It's just...
All right, let me search this up.
You've got Paul just stopped in the middle of a podcast to look up someone's YouTube.
Yeah, man. I'm following right now too. Me and James, same page. This is mad. Like, honestly, fair play. I'm gonna tell all my friends about you.
Is anyone else a little bit emotional right now? Can we get a link to the channel? Yeah, I will, in retrospect, put one in as a pinned comment.
I'll link it. I'll link it in a second. I promise. I'll link it right now in the chat in a second.
I just thought about how she easily walks through her past 5 gallon in the house whenever outside. Do you know what's mad?
What's mad is you only have 22 subscribers. Is what's mad. I've subscribed right now.
What's mad is my bearded dragon's entire enclosure is that leopard gecko's basking spot.
That is mad.
Oh, I feel awful.
This new enclosure that I built for Mango, I do think it's too small, but it's the biggest I can go at the minute. But like,
you got to do what you got to do, haven't you?
This is like.
Let's just move back to the enclosure for everyone just to gawk at again.
All right, everyone. I'm pretty sure that's the link. I've posted it into the chat.
Their little Leo needs a big crown, literally king.
See, grow tents have a place. When you're a Varanid keeper, grow tents aren't that functional. But
Just rip
something
through it.
It's not even that they're necessarily rip through it, but you can't utilize the sides. And you have to modify them so much to be able to have deep soil. You have to modify them so they don't, like you say, just go through it. But for a species like snakes or leopard geckos, imagine that, and then just fill it with some anoles or like tokay geckos.
Wow.
Like the humidity would be next level. Like you'd keep it so well.
How much are grow tents?
Not a lot. Like not a lot.
Really?
You could buy that size grow tent for like 100 quid.
Really?
No more than 200 quid.
Oh.
But you've got to, like I say, for what I keep, you've got to do a lot of modifications, so it all of a sudden starts to add up.
There is one spot where she has a foot of soil to dig in. All right, okay, now you're showing off.
Yeah, so I imagine that would be like at like a back right, because you can't have for like a Varanid. I'd want the whole thing, so I'd have to create a substrate dam. But for the most part, yeah, so grow tent's $130, I think. Yeah, mate, you could buy that for, like I said, like 100 quid. They're not expensive at all. But from what I keep, for like an Aki, you'd be able to make it work because you could just put a really big box of soil in there, really, you know. But then to hold the light fixtures for monitors that jump on them and swing around on them, you've got to like create framing and stuff on the inside, so they can be a bit more tricky for monitors. But for something like a leopard gecko, they're incredible.
I just can't believe how big that enclosure is for a leopard gecko.
You could just go and sit in there. I mean, how do you know where it is?
That's what the cameras are for, to try and find a thing.
Yeah, you just sit in there and you're like, just like sitting in, I don't know.
I would love to do that for a bearded dragon.
For a beardie, you'd be able to.
Mm.
Because you'd have to push all the soil up to the back, reinforce it so it's a bit more sturdy, and then because the beardie, chances are, won't be jumping on the light fixtures like a bloody monitor would be. I mean, they altered them to have 1 foot of soil in the entire tegus. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You have to alter it. I'm not saying it's not doable. But tegus are a lot less energetic than monitors. And monitors, I've seen a video of a monitor literally undoing a zip of a grow tent by putting his claw inside and then pulling it around.
Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying there is a bit more work involved when you're keeping monitors in grow tents. People in America do it all the time. America is massive in grow tents. It's a massive thing.
Do you know what you should do? You should change your channel name to Leopard Gecko Mansion and just make content around this leopard gecko living its life in this like amazing enclosure.
Yeah, for sure, man. The fact you've only got 22 subs is fucking criminal.
I don't even want to move on, but we're going to for the sake of the content. Right. Honestly, 10 out of 10. Well done.
10 out of 10. Hats off.
Wow.
Yeah,
just wow.
You should push content. Like, message me on Instagram, Pulse Monitors, shameless plug, and I'll share your channel, man. Like, when you put videos. Because I'm happy to support that. I'm a monitor person, but I'll support that.
I think come on the podcast. I mean, we talk a lot anyway because we're in like a group chat about gut loading. I know. Well, we started it when I was doing my thesis. I know we're nerds, but yeah, I didn't realize your enclosure was like that. Right, there's a few of these here. Kenyan sand boa, 40 gallon breeder, and there's a bearded dragon and whatnot as well. So we're gonna get through these. Let me scroll back up to the top. What's that sound?
That's me.
Oh, is it you? Okay.
Yeah.
This is, I'm assuming it's for the Kenyan sand boa. Again, it looks like UV halogen.
You got more pictures.
Yes, let's move along. So this is a different enclosure.
One's a bit.
Oh, this is a leopard gecko. That's a leopard gecko. I can see its face there. So for a Leo, you can't imagine being the person that submits the Leo. It comes up following the one that's got an entire room for a leopard gecko.
Yeah, this is very bad comedic timing.
Yeah, but on independently, separate from that, that is a reasonable leopard gecko enclosure. Nice basking spot.
There's UV by the looks of it.
Has UV, but looks fit. Yes. Can burrow under things. There's climbing opportunities. It can dig down to human microclimates. No, it's not bad. It's just that was 1,000 out of 10 last enclosure.
Just like Liam's been making up all these compliments he's been getting. He set you up, Mo.
It was planned. But yeah, it's a good enclosure.
There's an LED grow light. I'm about it.
Okay, it could be larger. I would say like a 4 foot, like a 4x2x2 would be great. I'd probably say a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say. I know there's an LED, and it might just be the picture, but it looks quite dark. And I know they're nocturnal, but we've already spoken about them being nocturnal. I'm going to give it a 6.5. It's hard to see from this picture, but it looks like there is a lot of complexity there. I just would like to see a couple. Is there more pictures? Can we go to the right?
Yeah, we're going to carry on. Oh, there's something else.
Okay.
What's this, Mo? Tell us.
The other one was a leopard gecko as well. So the first one was a leopard gecko.
Oh, the first one. Okay. Well, we're looking at your first one. Tell us what the other one was. So this one.
So like compare the differences. This for me is a much better functional use enclosure. So like that one, it's got stuff to climb on, but this has got like caves, rocks, hides, usable
I would agree with you.
space. Whereas the one next to it, it's got something you can climb on, then they're a bit like and then back down. Whereas the first one, there's nooks and crannies, and that will enable microclimates and little pockets of humidity and little cooler spots and warmer spots, and the rocks to hold the heat and more complexity that's actually beneficial to the animal. So for example, this one, again, I would like it a little bit more brighter, but I'm going to give this one an 8, but the other one I'd only give a 6.5.
I'd probably say they're both 7s.
Yeah. I think this one suits the needs of a leopard gecko. Add some LEDs, like good LEDs, and that's up there for me because it's functional. Don't get me wrong, it could be bigger, but for the most part, for what people give leopard geckos, we've got to forget about leopard gecko mansion for a second. For the most part of what people give leopard geckos, they give them like 2 foot cubes. So this is like a 2 by 45. So was it a 60 by 45 by 60 or a 60?
It looks it, yeah.
So it's an average size for a leopard gecko. You know, you could go bigger. You could, but everyone can go bigger. So I try not to take that into account.
We can go mansion bigger.
We can go mansion bigger. But yeah, I'd say this one's an 8, and then a crested gecko is the next one.
Yeah, crested gecko.
They're 3 by 2 by 2. Okay. It looks small.
Let me skip to the next one in case it's another angle. That's a different enclosure.
Is this a baby cresty?
Yeah, I mean, regardless, I think some more vertical and horizontal elements. It looks like there's like clustered to one end inside. It's full, like leaning over a hatchling. There's a lot of open space in the middle. I think even if you got like a cork tube and a cork round and plonked it in the middle, dug it down into the substrate and then wedged it against the mesh, that would be great.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be able to go right the way around and on top.
I bet it's got his own Wi-Fi and everything.
But that would be such a sick video. Reacting to leopard gecko enclosures in my leopard gecko enclosure.
Oh my god. That would be cool.
My new mangrove enclosure is big enough to do that. So I could do reacting to mangrove enclosures in my mangrove enclosure.
Apart from Mango would kill you.
Yeah, well, yeah, she bit me, sadly.
I'm aware that it's in the email, but I would have to uncast to read it out and to go backwards. Maybe
Is this a beardie?
I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go back and read the email. Right. Bear with me, guys. So leopard gecko, hatchling. So this one is a royal python in 4x2x2. Okay, so this is a royal python. I'm going to have to cast again, so bear with me, guys. So this is a royal python. I mean, it's got some climbing opportunities. It's got some burrows. It's got like overhead lighting, which is very, very important.
Imagine there's a deep substrate because it looks like they've created their own substrate down there.
Yeah, it looks like a deep substrate. I want to say
I'd like it brighter.
Yeah, I would probably say like a 7. I was going to say 6.5, but I think it's quite harsh.
I don't think the picture does it justice.
No, I don't.
So I'm going to say 6.5, but I can't see enough to make a full judgment.
So this one's a ball python as well. This one I will say 6.5. Lighting's good. I mean, when you think about that log, the royal python can bask on top of it, inside it, half hanging out, underneath it, behind it. So there's functionality there. But I am going to say a 6.5.
Yeah,
again, I agree. The picture doesn't do it justice.
I can't see how big the enclosure is or how big the royal is. But if this is an adult royal, I'm going to give it a 5.
Let me go back out to read. So this was a 4x2x2 royal python, same lighting, which is a 75 watt halogen, a T8 grow light, and a shade dweller.
Not for the first one, or for the second one.
Both lighting. Same for both.
That's a 4x2x2.
That's a 4x2x2.
Oh, I take it back. In the picture, this is the problem with pictures. It looks like a 2x2x2, but it's because of the picture.
What score did I give?
6.5, I think.
To be fair, I think I'm going to stick with it. I mean, in terms of proportionally to the majority of how all ball pythons are kept as a percentage, you are in the top 1%.
Oh, yeah, you're not in the drawers, so you're good. I feel like doing this, obviously, I've never done enclosure reviews, but I feel like you feel like you have to be a bit more like if I saw this enclosure on Facebook, I wouldn't go, oh my God, this is a terrible enclosure. This person.
Not at all. No.
So I feel like just because
Snake's got a 4x2x2.
Yeah, because I feel like we're on the spot to like criticize. I think you could fix that cork tube up. You could have a few more cork tubes, a few more elevated hides, in the sense of just cork tubes. Now I know it's a 4x2x2 with the lighting. I'll go with you at 6.5. I think a 6.5 is fair. I thought it was a lot smaller, to be fair, but the pictures don't do them justice.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read this one. 1 second. So this is a 4x2x4, special needs with cancer and moderate severe MBD. So special accommodations been made. Acadia 12% T5, 100 watt and 65 watt halogen, T8 grow light. Right, let me cast it again for everyone. I mean, it's got bigger. So your animal's got MBD and cancer, and it's got a larger enclosure than my bearded dragon.
What size is the enclosure? Sorry,
it's 4x2x4.
See, like this is what I was on about earlier in the sense of like creating shelves. Like, I like that because all of a sudden you've increased the usable space tenfold.
Mhm.
So I like that. I like that you've put a background in because it's regardless if she's gonna or he's gonna climb or not, they have the option to. What I would probably do is get a thick branch so there's less chance of falling off because of health issues. And I would put it from the shelf, the top left, all the way down to the bottom right, just to give that usable space something there. Maybe even a cork tube. Yeah, she climbs it, so there you go, perfect with the background. But yeah, I would add like a cork tube from the far left to the bottom right, just to give that extra level of they can get in it, they can get on it. But otherwise, I think that's a fit for purpose enclosure. I think I'd give it 7.5.
Yeah, I would probably say I don't like how the background looks, but that's just personal aesthetics and it means nothing. So I'm going to say an 8.
Yeah, size-wise for a beardie, it's a 10. Like obviously you can give them grow tents, but like people give them 4x2x2s.
Like me.
Then you've given mine's in a 4x2x3, and mine's a fairly small dragon, and she uses all the height. So the fact that you've gone higher, and I know obviously based on health issues, but let's just pretend that it's a completely 100% healthy dragon for argument's sake. I'd be putting a shelf top right hand side as well to make use of that space, and I'd be adding a cork tube up to that, and I'd be adding a cork tube from the left down to the right, just to make use of the usable space. But I think in this instance, you know your dragon and know what she is and isn't, or he is or isn't capable of. So I think it's best that you make judgment on that, and it's hard to judge an enclosure that's been fit for purpose for a sick animal.
Agreed. What I do with my beardie is that I have like a little ramp. So this is my shite LED. You got me saying LED, but DIY skills.
OSB.
So it's literally some OSB where it's like that, but then on this side, it's got a little lip. So that sits on the runner of the Viv in an angles like this. So that she's got a ramp in and out of her enclosure. And during this heat wavy weather, when it's like 30 degrees in there, she literally just roams in and out of the room, runs up and down, goes everywhere, nips back in for a buzz and comes out again. She literally sat on my foot for like half an hour for a little bit. And then she runs off beneath my bed, scurrying around. I can hear her. And the other day, I was literally just editing. I looked across and she just comes up and she's asleep on my pillow. I'm just like, this is a bit far now. The pillows are touched too far.
I do that with Mango, then she destroys my entire room.
She doesn't sleep on your pillow then.
Mate, don't let her out of the room. Should kill everyone's cats.
Kill everyone's cats. Right, I'm gonna have to read this one again. 1 second, guys. So this one's a Kenyan sand boa, Acadia shades will 100 watt halogen, more substrate than this picture, but I didn't get a chance for another picture. Yeah, let's go back to
Michael's come up with a fair point in the sense of we should have submitted an enclosure for people to review, because that would have been a nice ending to it.
True.
It's too little, too late.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you can add a lot to this enclosure.
What was this for? Sorry, I was replying to Michael. Kenyan sand boa. Okay.
Logs across the back, logs everywhere, cluttered everywhere, just like reach stack style, just piles of logs everywhere, I'd say. Some spindly branches, I'd block off the sides so you can't see out. Maybe like a thin bit of slate across the basking spot so it can go underneath and get that heat from its back pressed against the roof or sit above. And then have a bit of cork laying over that slate so it can go on top of the slate, but underneath a bit of cork, and then just plant up and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree.
What he said.
What are you giving out of 10?
5.
Yeah, I concur. Because again, it could be so much worse.
Yeah.
But there's always room to improve, no matter how good an enclosure is, unless it's Leopard Gecko Mansion.
Well, I would say 4 mo, but you've got overhead lighting, which makes it a 5.
Yeah, I think if you've got UVB and UVA on a snake,
You're doing really well.
You're already halfway there.
Because it's Kenya Sambo, and most people think that like they're always underground, so therefore it belongs in a rack. So I think you're already doing again better than the majority. Right, now we're on to the next email that's been resubmitted. Oh, there we go. Elsie's resubmitted it all. Right, so
She's probably not here now.
she can. Oh, she's written a book. Okay, let me read this. I feel like I have to read this for her, so I'm going to read it. Hi there. I saw your. She's forwarded it. Okay, she says it's a forward, so it's not contextual within the conversation now. So I saw your post in AHH, and I want to send along my Chihuahua enclosure. This houses Meredith, an adult male Chihuahua gecko who I lost gender chicken with when I'm naming him, and I couldn't get in the habit of changing the name. Oh, okay, I understand. It measures 20.5 inches by 20.5 inches by 31 inches length, width, height. I custom built this out of an old hexagonal aquarium I found on Facebook Marketplace. I took off one of the panels, cut the glass to create a top and bottom. I made the doors from plexiglass. I made the background with expanding foam, carved it, covered it in brown silicone, and then used my substrate mix, including cocoa, fiber, moss, and bark to cover the silicon. This is my first enclosure, and honestly, that process didn't turn out the best. But at this point, I just live with it because it'd be a crazy amount of work to do it all again. Plus, it shows my progress, and the gecko doesn't seem to mind. I custom ordered all plastic hinges because at the time I forgot that Gorilla Glue existed, and I siliconed them onto the glass and the plexiglass. I later used Gorilla Glue to make it lock, using a latch, lock, and clip to lock it. Though it really doesn't need it, I also included magnets inside the door for a tighter close since the plexiglass wasn't cut to fit the opening exactly. The gecko is large enough so there's no chance of escape. I made sure to keep him in a secure grow-out tank until I was positive he was big enough. The lid is made of glass lid, and it came with the tank, and with metal mesh over the back and a regular windscreen at the front. I used a trim to better secure the pieces in together. I used LED grow lights I got at Home Depot for the plants, a CHE connected to a thermostat to regulate the temperature, as I live in a basement and it gets chilly down here. He also has UVB, but I moved the enclosure last week and I hadn't had time to get another extension cord so I can plug that back in. That's a project for this weekend, as I often catch him basking during the day. This enclosure has gone through a lot of change over the years. In the picture of how it currently is set up, it's currently set up, you can mistake in plant choices, as the Monstera has taken over the tank and choked out most of the others. They were labeled as a split leaf philodendrons, and I thought it was a different species. Leave alone, haha. The gecko loves the big leaves, and at this point, I just cut sections out to make new plants when it grows too tall. Thank you for reading. I've attached pictures. I love your channel, and I'm so glad I saw the post to submit this enclosure. Also, sorry for the long email. I love my babies, and it's not often I get to geek out about the setups. No problem at all. No problem at all. So let's cast this. So this is the one that she was building. Then move on to the next one. So, oh, look at that. That's just quite nice.
This is Chihuahua, yeah?
Yeah. So in various stages, let's go to one where it's not so calcium stained. Yeah, it's a nice enclosure.
Go back to the one with the lighting on the top, please.
No problemo. There you go. LED and halogen, and obviously she hasn't got the extension cord where she's moved it, but it does have a UV. But I'm assuming she saw to that because she said it was a weekend project, and that was last June. So
yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I'm sure it's not the case, but just make sure the UV isn't over the glass.
Very good point.
Just because UV doesn't penetrate through glass, and yes, the UV is back on. Yeah, so if the UV is on the glass, then obviously the animal's not getting UVB. But if it's not, great. I think I would add is no, it's connected to bow mesh. Sweet, perfect. So the only thing I would add is maybe just a nice vertical branch, smack bang right in the middle, just to fill up that open space. But for the most part, yeah, it's nice. It's a good size.
Yeah. I'm going to hold off voting yet because there's another email with more pictures, so we're going to go to that one.
Okay. Yeah, I've Chihuahua were the first ever reptile I bred.
I think the images are very similar in this one as well, but we'll go to it anyway, and we'll nip through them all. This might be a case of she's like forwarded it twice, but we'll see.
Yeah,
They're the same
pictures.
images. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I would say it's a 7.5 because it could be bigger. You've lost space there by it being hexagonal.
What did you give it? Sorry, either I or you lagged.
Oh, 7.5.
I'm going to give it an 8 purely because you recycled something and repurposed it. I like that. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Fair.
I think
There
if
you
you
are.
go a bit bigger and add a couple more vertical branches, you're right up there. But yeah, I like it. It's good. I like the leaves.
I'm very glad we got to do yours before you went to bed. No problem. I'm glad I'm so glad that you held out for 3 hours until yours got done. You're a trooper. Thank you very much. Right, let me just check what we got left. I think we are nearing the. Oh no. Oh, Michael submitted.
What? Longmore? Yeah.
Michael Cruz. So this is a 4x2x2 from Custom Reptile Habitats, the sponsor of this show. Link in the description. 10 out of 10. It's a 20-year-old Royal, 89 to 90 F on the hot side. I don't know what that is. Help me, Paul. 77 on the cool side.
Degrees.
Okay.
77's like 26. 25.
So there's a 26 drop at night. Basking spot reads 95 to 102. What's that?
102 is like 35. 36.
35. Okay, not fair. Not bad. Not fair. Doesn't make sense. 50 to 80% humidity. I want to get one of the 2 foot additions that they offer to give a 6x2x2. Substrate is a topsoil mix with sand, sphagnum moss, and cypress moss. The zip ties seen in the second image are positioned and tightened in a way that makes them possible for the snake to get into or dislodge them without breaking entirely.
He's in chat by the looks of it.
Hello. Hey, that's me.
Yeah, 38. Cool. 102 is 38.
This is a 4x2x2, remember? Custom Reptile Habitats, sponsor of the show.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I like the structures up the top left and loved how you've added in some wood to the PVC to allow you to actually make climbing structures. I love that there's a burrow at the back left that you can go underground in. There's a hide underneath the basking spot so they can cryptically bask. I like the fact that you can't see it at the back when it's got security all the way along.
I think for me, adding a cork tube screwed to the right hand wall,
agreed.
You're pretty much there because otherwise it's just a waste of space. But yeah, I'll say that's a good. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
I was going to give it an 8.
Yeah, I think add that cork tube on the right hand side, and you're up there with a 9.
Again, you're in the top 1% of all.
It's so weird, though, isn't it? Like you go, yeah, it's a 9, or it's a this, or it's a that, and like you say, all of these enclosures are like sick. But yeah,
I mean, I think it's a really good enclosure. You lagged a little bit for me. Did I lag for you?
You've been lagging a little bit earlier, but I don't know if that's me or not because my internet is woeful. But we've lasted 3 hours, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Let me move on to the next image, just so we can look at it. Oh, yeah, nice normal. Right, there is another email from you as well, so we will check that out for you. Oh, no, that isn't. So Jeffrey Leslie is the next one, and there's no context, just an image.
Nice.
So add to stream.
I like Jeffrey.
So that looks really cool.
Royal, no?
It looks to be a royal, yes. Just the one image. There is a second email, so I'll have to go to that one. We'll see which one's more appropriate for looking at. Right, I assume that one's bigger. I mean, we can't see the entire enclosure, but I mean, sky hide and the branch going all the way up to it.
Swap the deep heat for a halogen.
Yep, I would go halogen straight away.
Live plants, nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can really say about this one because I can't see the entire enclosure, but
It looks like there's no UVB on the basking spot. Doesn't mean there's not UVB, but I would put UVB on the basking spot with a halogen.
there appears to be brightness on the right. You can see it on that right battany area there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that it's not over by the heat, I would have it over by the heat. But maybe you've done that because you don't want to overexpose it by the branch. I don't know. I would say, knowing what I know from this image, I'd probably say 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's hard to judge. Very hard.
Very hard. But yeah, thank you for submitting. I think we've exhausted the list. I think we have completely exhausted it.
That's quite lucky because I kind of need the toilet.
Okay, cool. Right. Thank you for joining me, Paul. Where can everyone find you if they don't already know?
Paul's Monitors on Instagram and YouTube. Do a podcast live every Sunday at 8 p.m. It's the same time as this. We all hang out and talk about monitor lizards and ethics. And I won't mention it here because I don't want to get you demonetized, but let's say problems with people's brains. I struggle with that. So I speak openly on that on my channel and intertwine it with reptiles. I have cool monitor lizards that I post on Instagram. I'm almost at 20,000, you know.
Mad. I need to do Instagram more.
I should hit that this weekend.
Nice. Impressive.
Crazy. So yeah.
My YouTube shorts have been doing really well for me, to be fair. The AI I've used to make them.
I need to. To be fair, I watched them today and I see that I'm in like half of them. And because when we did Zoom, it's like on my face. So when you've done the short of me, it's literally like here. I'm like, oh man, he's done me dirty.
The AI does what the AI does.
Oh man, literally, it's like this. It's like one of the lizards. But yeah, so Paul's Monitors. Paul's
Monitors is a great show. I've literally stayed up till like 4 a.m. watching your episode with Michael. Yeah,
we talk a lot. My episode with Michael was a 4-hour podcast. I mean, this has been 3 hours 16 minutes, but yeah. I talk a lot. I've been exploring the idea of planting seeds and hot topic ideas and just giving opinions on it and then just allowing people. As you can probably tell from this 3 hours, I'm really into LEDs. I'm an electrician by trade, so I push out LEDs quite a lot.
People are liking this format. I would definitely do. If you want to come on for more, then by all means, Paul. But I'm definitely going to do more for guys. I'm also going to do other types of live streams. I really enjoy this format. I like getting to talk to people. I didn't realize how fun this level of interaction would be.
I'll take credit for getting you onto this because you sort of helped me get onto YouTube as a general, and then I've sort of been helping you push more. How can we word it? Just being more yourself.
Yeah.
That's all, because your videos are very format, science, knowledge.
Yes, they are.
And I wrote a book called Planting Seeds.
I think a lot more of my personality comes out during things like this.
You can't not be yourself on a live because you've been here for 3 hours and 20 minutes. If you're not, but the problem is with it because I'm personally quite a sarcastic person and I'm very deadpan with it. So people that don't know me that tune in are like, "What's this guy talking about?" He's like, but like I am just joking. So you have to almost have an audience that understands you. Otherwise, all of a sudden, someone's just like, But yeah, I go live every Sunday. And have been now for a couple of months actually, and it's been the best thing I've ever done. It's just so much easier and better.
I think what I'm planning on doing is doing a podcast every Sunday, a normal video throughout the week, and then on like a Friday or something, a live stream. So it goes podcast episode, normal YouTube video, and then live stream. And those 3-pronged things and 2 shorts a day. I'm grinding away here. So hope people enjoy that. A lot of the polls on the YouTube community tab is saying that people are. So I hope people enjoy this. I might experiment with doing like a live stream podcast at some point as well.
Yeah, live stream podcasts are good, man. It's almost a lot of responsibility because if you mess up, then it's live. But then I think that's also part of the allure. I think it's quite
Yeah.
enjoyable that it's real and people are like, oh, okay, this isn't polished and edited. And you can bring up like Instagram and you can bring up different things and show people different stuff. So you can still have B-roll as such, but like in the podcast. But yeah, I really like the live. For me, I really enjoy podcasting, but since taking it live,
it's a lot of fun. I'm tempted to test the live streaming feature as a podcast when I've nugget of information for everyone. We've booked Beardy Vet.
dun dun dun.
We've booked Beardy Vet. So maybe we'll do a live stream for Beardy Vet so people can ask questions, be more involved in that. Or maybe not, because I don't know how two mics works when I'm here and then Ellie's here. I don't know how that works with this program. So I'll have to figure that out. But either way, we should have Beardy Vet on either as a normal podcast episode, or maybe we might try and do something like this. If he wants to do a live, that is, but we'll see.
It's hard to keep up with the chat because you're trying to listen to the guest as well as read the chat, and it's hard to read the chat and pay full attention to the guest.
That's what super chats are for.
It is what super chats for. So I've sort of said this to people: if you will definitely want a question asked on a guest that I don't know. So like when I had Michael on, I was going to the chat because I know him, and same as like when I had Matt on and a couple of. But this guest this week on Sunday, I don't know him. I've spoken to him before, but I don't know him, so I've got to kind of ignore the chat. And then I feel bad, so that's why I do solo Sundays like every 6 weeks or so. I'll just do a solo and I can catch up with everybody. So yeah, even if you just did this like once a month, just as a hey guys, how's everyone? Ask me questions, live Q&As, like random topics, or
I mean, if people want to do it, I'll do it because I enjoy it. So
if you've got nothing else to do, in the sense of like a Friday evening, you're like, oh, I'm not seeing any, like all my maintenance is done. Let's just jump live. But the problem is with it, people will see it on their YouTube, but it's good to do like what you've done and plug it. Like I normally like to plug mine from Friday, Saturday, and then live on the Sunday because a couple of days is normally enough.
live podcasts get more all over the place. It's cool when we watch live. A listening go, I prefer to pre-recorded. If I was just listening on the go, I'd prefer pre-recorded. Yeah, I would agree with that as well because it's not so stop and start, and it's more like directly you're getting the flow of the conversation. So, yeah, I'll figure things out. We'll talk more on the community tab, and we'll figure what we want to do. It's been an amazing live stream. Definitely do more.
I'm going to shameless plug here. James, come and check me out because you clearly love monitors. And you do really well with your Savannah. And all we do is talk about monitors. I don't know if you already follow me or not, but if you want to come on my podcast and talk about your incredible Savannah monitor enclosure, then message me on Instagram at Paul's Monitors. I'd love to have you on.
Do it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, again, my podcast is live like this, exact same format. But if you'd like to talk about Savannah monitors, I think it'd be great to get some good husbandry out there.
Yeah, there you are. Plug for Paul's Monitors. Thank you very, very much, everyone, for coming. Again, anyone who's not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe for more live streams when they happen. We're going to do some crazy stuff on this channel, and it's only just starting now that I'm doing this full time. And there's a deep dive coming. Everyone's throwing money at me, even nerds. Like, what's that about? But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. We're going to end this here, and we'll see you in the next live stream. Thank you very much, Paul.
No worries, man. Thank you for having me on. And congratulations on your first live stream and the numbers.
Thank you very much. Yeah, like nearly 50 at one point. Crazy.
I think next time you should stop making up all that like gobbledygook about yourself, and you'll probably be a little.
Right, I'm ending this.
Thank you for tuning in. Bye.